Evening and happy post-Turkey Day. My name is Scott Schertzen for Stream Punk Sports, and I hope you are having an awesome Sunday wherever you are on planet Earth, or if I'm lucky, perhaps some of the aliens somewhere in the universe are watching this as well. We could use the intergalactic ratings. As always, this is Stream Punk Sports, and this is Sunday Night Football reaction, rambling, and commentary on tonight's matchup between the Baltimore Ravens at home against the somehow last place at 6-5 Cleveland Browns. Right now, to quote a line from Arrested Development, I feel a little bit like a Mary without a Peter and a Paul, because my Peter, Paul, and my Cadbury are currently out right now because it's the holidays. So I'll be running solo for a little bit. I'd say Peter or Paul may be popping out a little bit later for comments, but everybody's at family right now. We had our event on Sunday, but hope you guys are doing well. My case, you know how it is, the requisite food, the requisite Mylanta, and the requisite nausea and hating yourself when you look at the scale afterwards. But we're not here to talk too much about Thanksgiving. We're here to talk to you guys about what's going on in the world of football, in the world of sports, and really in the world of anything you want to talk about. As always, we are available through Stream Punk Sports on Twitch, on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, and also on Twitter at Stream Punk Sport, solo on this one. My case, I'm running with a little bit of a post-evening cocktail, if you will. So this will help me get through the next 3 hours. Something out of Sweden I'm going to be trying out to see how that plays out. But like I said, as always, drop us a message. Give us your thoughts, your ideas, your comments, your complaints. I want to hear from you. We will be also doing a breakdown on all of the day's events that happened today, talking maybe a little bit more NFL, maybe some hockey as well. Right now, my Devils are playing. I should check that out before this game starts. Right now, the Devils are up 2-1. Good. They're playing Philadelphia, which, for a New Jersey sports team to be taking on Philadelphia, it wasn't so bad today. Those of us in Giant Nation have struggled yet again, but they pulled out an impressive, immaculate, top-notch win at home by the rocking score of 13-7. So we'll be talking a little bit about that game and what's going on there. Like I said, we've got a bunch of stuff we're going to be talking about. San Francisco playing the Vikings, the game against Green Bay against the Rams there. Green Bay wins again because Aaron Rodgers is phenomenal at home and is now only 3 wins away at home from tying Dan Marino for 7th all-time in the career wins list at home turf. I believe, if I remember correctly, I think his record is 86-21-1. So huge respect to that future Hall of Famer. Right now, in this particular case, we're looking at a 7-3 Baltimore Ravens team that, by percentage points, is the best team in the AFC. However, they're going to need to win tonight if they're going to want to keep that going, because once again, the Patriots win. They have won 7 straight. They have crushed their competition during this massive, massive run. Sorry, Patriot haters and Belichick haters, this team is back. They had a little bit of an off year last year. Things didn't obviously work out with Cam Newton, although he's had better success in Carolina. We can talk about that a little bit later. But it's been an odd transition for New England Nation. You had Tom Brady for literally 20 years. You had Cam Newton, which never panned out. But now you found your heir apparent in Mac Jones. So, like I said, we'll be doing a bit of a deep dive into the scores on that game while simultaneously discussing this one as well. Lamar Jackson we'll be talking about. Baker Mayfield. Chances are pretty good there will be a Baker Mayfield progressive commercial. I don't know. I'm going to say probably 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 times tonight because, hey, what do you know? It's progressive. Baker Mayfield started the starting quarterback for the Browns, so they figure it's probably a good opportunity. For me personally, I'm kind of tired of seeing the Baker Mayfield commercials. I think he's probably hurt his career a little bit by doing some of these commercials, as many as he has been, which may be part of the reason why right now Baker Mayfield, supposedly the rumors have it, has lost the Cleveland locker room. They've lost the respect that they used to have for him. This is a team that I think a lot of people expected to contend for the AFC. And right now they're a cellar dweller, despite the fact that they are in fact a positive record of 6-5. If they lose tonight, and if they lose in bad fashion to a division rival, you might start hearing some talk about Baker not being there next year. It's going to be interesting to see what ends up happening with him. But there's been some questions as far as what his numbers have been, what his performance has been, and whether or not he can really carry that team. Personally, speaking for myself, I expected a lot better from Cleveland this year. I predicted them to win probably 12 games this year. They can still do that, but it's such a streaky team that you don't know for sure what you're going to get out of that team. Right now, the Browns are, like I said, 6-5. They're 1-1 in division. The Steelers at 5-5-1 are in fact in last place after their loss to the Bengals today, which again, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But like I said, let me hear from you. Drop us a message in the comments there. Any thoughts, any ideas, any questions you may have, please do. Again, this is always available on Streampunk Sport on Twitter and on every other media channel at Streampunk Sports with an S on the end. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and also Twitch, where I am right now too. So, but like I said, let me talk to you guys a little bit. Let me get your thoughts, your ideas. Going into this one right now, Jack Macklin has missed the last 3 games. He is a 2-time All-Pro selection. He is expected to be back tonight. We're going to be doing a little bit of a deep dive into the Browns uniform today. Not the uniform so much, but also the helmets that they're choosing to wear, because it's got a strange, almost poor man's Alabama Crimson Tide look to it tonight. So I want to get your thoughts there when it comes to that one, because frankly, I'm not overly impressed with what I just saw there. Right now, offensive lineman Marshall Yanda is coming out. He won the Super Bowl with the team back in Super Bowl 47. So he's come out with the shield. He's revving up the crowd. This is going to be good. And we are just about underway with the kickoff. So with that kick off my first shot of the game. So got a little Swedish vodka. It's going to help me get through because, like I said, I'm the only dude right now. So you got 3 hours with me, just me, unless you decide to watch something else instead, which is certainly plausible. Woof. Oh, that's strong. Wow. You think eating as much as I did, the last few days for Thanksgiving would have maybe had some impact on that. It clearly didn't. But right now, like I said, we are underway at this point. The kickoff is there. I want to start breaking things down. Like I said, I want to talk a little bit about some of the action that happened today. We didn't actually have a game on Thursday night because it was Thanksgiving. It was our time with our family and everything that came with it, for better or for worse. Perhaps I'll get into that a little bit later today, too. That was we had some interesting quirks that went on for our own Thanksgiving there. But I figure, you know what? Let's start things off. Going to be going into talk a little Bengals first, because in this case, it is a division rival playing against the Steelers, who laid a complete egg today. So we're going to pull this guy up first. There we go. How does that look? Yeah, it's going to bump that up a little bit there. Robert Luckington, Baltimore proud there. You know what? They've got it's a strong team right now. I'd love to see what they're able to do. I think they have a great shot of actually at least competing for the AFC Championship right now, but it's going to be curious to see what they can do. I like Lamar Jackson. I like his legs, and I don't trust Baker Mayfield to make things happen. But first and foremost, like I said, I want to talk a little bit about Ben Roethlisberger and what happened over there. This was not the game that the Steelers needed to have. And this brings up a lot of questions as far as what that team is capable of doing, because Ben Roethlisberger right now needs to be better if that team is going to be able to get back into the postseason for what may very well be his swan song in Pittsburgh. 24 for 41, 263, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Comparing that to what Joe Burrow pulled up, 20 for 24, 191 and 1. But the big difference is in this case here, down below, Joe Mixon. 28 rushes, 165 yards, 2 TDs, and then also at the same time, a strong passing game. T. Higgins making 114 yards and a touchdown. They controlled this game pretty much right from the onset, and they never looked back. This is something where, again, 31-3 at the end of the first half, they ran away with Cincinnati, did everything that they had to do to win and stay competitive. I'd love to see what this team can do. They're a feel-good team to me. Joe Burrow is clearly the future for this team. I think there's a great chance that team is able to make some stuff happen. I don't think they're there yet. I think this team still has a ways to go to be able to compete. But for Cincinnati, who has been a team for decades of perpetual misery, really, Baker Mayfield throwing wide open right there. Who's that? Is that Landry? Yeah. That, of course, would be one of the players that I did not have this offseason. I dropped him earlier in the season when he was injured. That makes sense because that's what I end up doing. We will be talking also about my fantasy team and the chaos therein in this case, because my team is crap. My fantasy team is unbridled, unquestioned crap, and we're going to be discussing that at length because, by God, if I'm not drinking now, I will be drinking a lot more later. Let me hide Mr. Leckington's comment. But as always, like I said, you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, all the rest of it, all those good places there. So let me move this to box score, I think. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Baker Mayfield, 3 for 3 for a quick 55 yards. So, that sounds about right. Because, again, I don't know what he's necessarily going to do. And typically in the NFL, they do the literal opposite of whatever it is that I make happen. So, be interesting to see. They're already into Baltimore territory at the 32-yard line, 2nd down and 10. Mayfield under center. Again, this is kind of a must-win game because unlike a lot of the other divisions in football, this is a team right now that at 6-5 is in fact in last place. And that makes it very, very odd when you think about it, just by virtue of the fact that the Giants are in last place at 4-7. You've got the Jets in last place. You got the Jags in last place. And then you have a 6-5 team that is literally in last place in their respective division. But that's football. And that's what ends up happening here. There hasn't been a clear defined leader to really just take the reins here in a now 17-game season. So I want to see what ends up happening with this particular game because, again, this is the chance for the Ravens to be able to take over sole possession of the AFC with the best record. If they lose, the New England Patriots, who were a laughing stock to start the season going 2-4, would have the best record after completely straight up throttling and crushing a now very vulnerable Tennessee Titans without Derrick Henry. It says a lot to the powerhouse of. Let me pull this up in the meantime. It says a lot to what that team is capable of doing when they're favored by a touchdown against the team that had the best record in the NFL, because that team was 8-3 and they just unbridledly dismantled the Titans tonight. There it is. Pulling that up right there. Pulling this up right here. There we go. This is, like I said, 36-13 against a team that was 8-3 and had the best record in the AFC. That is what shows that Bill Belichick is for real and that he doesn't always necessarily need Tom Brady. Ryan Tannehill, 11 for 21, 93 yards, touchdown and interception. Good running game, though. Hilliard and Foreman actually have carried that team, no pun intended, when it comes to the absence of Derrick Henry. They put up good numbers, but the passing game never got going. Ryan Tannehill ended up having 24 yards rushing himself. If you look at this, Ryan Tannehill had 24 yards rushing. The best receiver had 25. That says a lot about how one-sided this team was today. Tie that as a comparison to what the Patriots pulled up. Mac Jones, 23 for 32, 310 yards, 2 TDs, and didn't have to worry about the run game too much because he took care of all that he needed to. What's curious about this, and this is where, like I said, this is a big part of what that team's capable of doing. In their 6-game win streak, the Patriots have only given up 13 points more than once. The only time they did is when they gave up 24 to the Chargers when they won 27-24. In this 6-game winning streak, they have given up 13 points or less in 5 of those 6 matches. That is a Super Bowl contender. And I know for a fact that Bill Belichick would love to get back to the Super Bowl. I think imagine this scenario. You got Bill Belichick in the Super Bowl against Tom Brady. I think that's absolutely plausible. I think that's 100% doable. And I think fans across the world would love to see that end up happening. I, for one, would love to be able to see it as well, because think about the ratings on that. There's been a little bit of concern of late about the Super Bowl ratings, if they've been dropping, what's going on there. I think that'll help a little bit. So give me a sec. Time for another shot. Yeah. But all right. So like I said, right now off to a decent start. There we go. 3 for 5. And like I said, you can always find us on Instagram as well. Streampunk Sports. Everything is Streampunk Sports. We try to make it simple that way. My service to you. I, of course, am Baggy-Eyed Scott by virtue of the fact that I've got some monster bags under the eyes right now, as I often do. And I've decided not to fight it anymore, and I've decided to go by the nickname of Baggy-Eyed Scott. If you watch some of the YouTube videos that we had, we talk about fast facts when it comes to We just change that. Peggy. Hey, Peggy. All right, Scott just literally changing my name on here so you for all to see. What I'd like to see, well, say, okay, Baltimore's taken over at this point, 1st down and 10. Lamar Jackson, quick little pass, 8-9 yards, not bad. They're underway the way that they needed to do. Again, must-win game for Baltimore if they're going to want to try and stay in this. I welcome your comments. I welcome your thoughts, your ideas, your compliments, your complaints, your negativity, your cynicism, your positivity, whatever makes you happy. I'm willing to hear it. So, what do we got? Let's see. You think we're yes, I do. I believe, actually, I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say he's going to run in 2. One, definitely, I love his legs. I love what he's capable of doing. And running quarterback, I think, is the new future of this league. And I for one, love it. When you have a guy even like Daniel Jones who can run the ball, it says a lot. But Lamar, yes, I do believe he's going to run one in. At least I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say he's going to run in 2 because, well, you know what? He's not on my fantasy league. If he was on my fantasy league, he'd have 0 and probably throw like 7 picks. But yeah, I think that's possible. And by the way, no problem. Welcome to you, man. So, like I said, drop us a question, drop us a thought, comment, idea. Love it. Yeah, I'd love to see Lamar do it. I think, like I said, I love what that kid is capable of doing. I love the fact that this is something. I have a YouTube channel called Uplifting Stories in a Minute. And one of the things, it's basically a puppet on a green screen, 1-minute videos about awesome people doing awesome things for humanity. And he's got a charity called Blessings in a Backpack that provides the community, like underprivileged kids, with like pens, pencils, notepads, backpacks, and all of this kind of stuff. And credit where it's due. The Buffalo Bills last year, when they beat Lamar Jackson and the Ravens in the playoffs, the Buffalo Bills raised $340,000 to Lamar Jackson's charity. And I just remember that just now, as actually Jackson just takes a sack. And I think that's a really cool thing. You see rivalry in sports a lot, but to see credit to Buffalo, to Buffalo Bills Nation for raising over $250,000 for their opposing quarterback's charity was a really cool thing. So as we're on the topic of Lamar Jackson, I figured let me just throw that out there real quick. He right now is at 1 for 1, but he's already picked up a sack at this point for a 6-yard loss. And that does not bode well. Right now, still no score, about 5 minutes in. Mayfield's doing okay, but they're facing a very long 2nd and 16. He's already in the shotgun, and he's taken off at this point, but it took a bit of a hit, 3 or 4 yards on that, so it's not bad. Thank you. Let's see if I'm right. Because again, if I'm right, I'll look great. If I'm wrong, I look like an idiot. But no, I think he can get that team going. They know what's on the line right now. I think his legs, he is a very mature young quarterback. And I love what he brings to the table. Honestly, like I said, as a Giants fan, I would love to have a quarterback like him. Daniel Jones has been okay, but the Giants need a bona fide leader. They need somebody who basically can intimidate, I think, a team, and Lamar Jackson is capable of doing that, basically, both throwing the ball and running the ball. And I like that. And I don't know if Daniel Jones, and we'll get into the Giants a little bit later, because again, they had their rocking 13-7 win earlier today, much to the surprise of all of us. I would love to have a guy like him. I think, when it comes to the Giants, Russell Wilson, I would make a serious run because he is somebody who's tired of Seattle. We'll talk about that a little bit later as we go on. But the Giants are a mess. They just fired Jason Garrett, their offensive coordinator. I feel bad for the guy personally, just for the record. You get fired right before Thanksgiving. That's got to suck, I remember a couple years ago, I met his brother. Yeah, actually, I probably will be. I got a couple people maybe coming on for comments a little bit later. Normally for this particular game, I've got upwards of 4 people, but it is the holidays. So my co-host Obie right now, his son is back from college, so I more than understand why he wants to be there. JD's got family, and I know Brandon's got some stuff going on as well. So this is a fledgling network. This is a fledgling channel. So I'm still building this as I go, but we'll have more hosts, and it's just going to be just me. So we'll make that happen as we go along. But yeah, stay if you want. If you got, if you got any questions, thoughts, comments, if you agree with me or don't, please let me know either way. because I am down for that. I'm more than happy to hear any of it. All right. Welcome aboard. But yeah, no, if you got questions about anything about me, the career that I've had up until now, like I said, my name is Scott Churchson, son of a church. So you Google me, you'll find me. It's not going to be that hard. Like I said, a little bit of conversation when it comes to some of my epic fails on national television and all the shit I dealt with there. But Lamar Jackson, yeah, right now, that's weird. If you look at the ESPN website, it currently says, 1-for-1 passing, but no Baltimore passing. So I guess no one passed the ball. Thanks, ESPN. But right now, sluggish offense. Got a commercial for Matrix Resurrections. I got to say I'm interested in that. So, but let me start in the meantime, since we got commercials and whatnot. Let me start breaking down some of the other games that ended up happening today. Like I said, Patriots 36-13. If you're going to beat the team with the best record in the AFC, that is the way to do it. To run away with this team, to run away with this game and just crush your opponent and not get Ryan Tannehill any yardage whatsoever. That defense, again, like I said, has been phenomenal these past 6 games because they've only given up more than 13 points in the last 6 games one time. 27-24 against the Chargers. And they still won that game anyway, 27-24. But that says so much about that defense, which struggled early on in the season. But let's go to the next one. Let's see, what else do we got here? Let's go to the next one. All right. I referred to this on the show that I did earlier today as a guest called the NFL Insiders on Zingo TV and Spanglish World Network. All right. Lamar Jackson with a completion, but still well short, probably at a 2-yard pickup. That ball was absolutely thrown on, short of the first down markers. There was no way there was going to be a first down there. But Baltimore's forced to punt. Anyway, I mentioned about this one that there was a couple games that I referred to as Battle of the Bleh. And this one, for starters, was because you got a Falcons team, which now is 5-6, against a Jacksonville Jaguar team. And honestly, this is where I concern myself a little bit. Trevor Lawrence had a good game overall, 23-42, 228, 1-1, which is solid for a rookie. But I've said this a few times, and I don't know if people agree with me or not, and either way is fine. I'm concerned about the fact that they're starting rookie quarterbacks too soon. When it comes to the NFL, if you go back 15, 20 years, you never saw a rookie quarterback start game one. Peyton Manning was an anomaly. He started game one, and it was newsworthy. They trust him enough to start out of the gate. And obviously, he struggled in his first year. But you look at so many starting quarterbacks. You look at so many players that are drafted and immediately going into the lineup. I think it hurts the product long term because you have these quality quarterbacks who never got themselves going because they're thrown in too quickly. I look at this. I look at the players that are out there, and I think it's a hit or miss in general. But I think it's an increasing miss as time goes on, where quarterbacks are starting too quickly. Right now, Baker Mayfield looks like he's limping a little bit coming off the field there. Come back on the field, I should say. Sorry. I don't know exactly what happened, but he scrambled for a couple of yards there. They're highlighting Bowser on the Ravens. Bowser came around. Chubb, yes. I'm going to say – oh, sorry. I didn't actually put this up. I'm going to say Chubb, yes. Andrews, no. Chubb right now is, second – we'll call it second in the NFL right now in rushing. Derrick Henry, I think at the moment, is still higher, but he's out for the season. So for all intents and purposes, Chubb is the second best runner in the game behind Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor, who saved my fantasy league last week because my team was crap, but he picked up 51 points for me, thank God, and managed to pull a victory from the jaws of defeat. But I'm going to say Mark Andrews does not score tonight. Chubb will. Right now, we're facing a 3rd and 7, just a little under 7 minutes left to play. So far, a pretty anemic offense on both sides of the fence. There hasn't been a whole lot of action right now. Let's see. Baker's back to pass. Throws him. And all right, looks at the first down. took a little bit of a hit, but they picked up enough to keep the chains moving. Again, this is a must-win for Baker Mayfield. Conklin is down, and Lyman Conklin for the Browns is down. Yeah, he looks in bad shape too. This is a concern that I've got when it comes to football too. That these players are getting stronger. You got a 350-pound lineman who can do a 4.8 40, and it's just like being hit with a train. So you're seeing these guys hit each other harder and harder, and Conklin's grabbing his knee. So rolled over. I don't know what's going to happen here. They may have to get the cart for him. He looks in so much pain right now. It sucks. Yeah. I know what it's like to stub my toe or step on a Lego, but by God, what these guys have to do. This is why a lot of people, and I've talked to Obie about this as well. Obie would not want his son to play football, and I can't entirely blame him, as these kids are getting stronger, they're getting faster, and they're hitting harder. It hurts to worry about the future of football a little bit from that regard, just because of the fact that there's so many injuries out there, and players who have developed CTE and battled depression and dealt with everything that they've had to deal with, despite the millions of dollars that they've had, despite the Pro Bowl appearances, the Super Bowl appearances, Super Bowl wins, these players have come out on record saying, I wish I never entered the NFL. It looks from the surface like these players have so much going for them. Financially, they're set for life. Their kids, their grandkids are set for life forever. They've got accomplishments, they've got accolades, they got trophies, they got all this stuff. But they also have something that they've gone on record saying, it's so bad, it sucks so much that I would rather have not gone in the NFL in the first place. And that to me is mind-blowing. You don't see it so much with some of the other sports. You see CTE can float a little bit in hockey as well. Hockey right now did battle the reports for a while and be like, no, there's no CTE in hockey. We don't know what's going on there. And then J.K. Laws, there was obviously CTE because you got fast-moving players hitting each other pretty damn hard. But you're seeing a concern that's happening in football where injuries are happening, and it's damaging long-term. WWE and wrestling as well, even I would say MMA too. There's a concern when it comes to the amount of hits that are taken, the concussions that occur, the CTE, like I said, long term, where you have athletes who made bank but are just basically destroyed from the inside out and are in unbridled pain day in and day out and have to just sit there and just take meds and hit PT and regret the decision that they had to go and play the professional sport. I talked to Obie about this, and I asked Obie about it. In his case, he's got it. Oh shit. Oh wow. Conklin was just trying to walk off the field, and he cannot put any pressure. They may be bringing the card out, or they're going to glide him across. But oh shit, that was bad. If you remember a couple of weeks back when Daniel Jones took that concussion hit and he was wobbling off the field, it was the same thing, but look at it from the standpoint of the ankle. So yeah, I'll hope he's okay, but I'm not so sure after what I just saw there. Anyway, back to the action. 6 minutes and change left. Mayfield rolling out. Mayfield with the pass, the completion, and a loss of probably about 2 or 3 yards. So 6 minutes left to play. No score. Not a whole lot of action going on at this point. I'd like to be able to see something going. One of the things that's funny about doing these shows for the last month that we've been doing them is that more often than not, the games that we think are going to have action, are going to have intensity. And I'll get to your question in a sec. It's weird. A lot of the games that we do end up with low-scoring affairs. So I'm curious about that. What makes me think Andrews isn't going to get in? Because so far I've been gutsy and I said that Chubb was going to get in. I said that Lamar Jackson was probably going to get in twice. So I needed to have one no in there somewhere. That's the only reason I said basically why I don't think Andrews is going to get in, because I had to say no to something. But that's my take on that. I mean, it's certainly possible, but I would give it to Chubb. My gut's telling me Chubb first. So, all right. Like I said, as always, you can find us on, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, here on Twitch, at Streampunk Sports, and also at Streampunk Sport, singular, on Twitter, because Twitter only allows 15 characters. So Streampunk Sport it is. That's going to probably be pass interference, and there it is. There's the flag. Okay. Yeah, I was going to say there's a lot of pushing and shoving on the part of the Ravens there, and that should have been pass interference. And you know what? It was. Yep. Jerome Boger, 16th season as an NFL referee. Respect to that. Yeah, that was Humphrey that actually took that penalty. There's no way he didn't. You know, when you're shoving, you're not even turning around when the pass comes around. You're very clearly going to take that penalty. You know, he never turned around. A lot of pushing and shoving, and Peoples Jones is like, where the hell's the flag? It's like, all right, there it is. All right, we're good. By the way, OBJ got a touchdown today. Speaking of, in this case, the Browns and former Browns. So OBJ's got a chance to revitalize his career in a big city market that I think is perfect for a guy like him. Flag on the play. Chubb with a decent pickup, but it's probably going to be called back. I would assume for a holding call, because that penalty came in fast. But like I said, so far so good. Mayfield 5 for 8 for 66 yards. The quarterback for the Ravens, according to ESPN, is no Baltimore passing. So until the quarterback changes on there, we're going to refer to him as NBP. NBP right now is 2 for 2 for only 10 yards, but I think he's picked up he's picked up 4 yards in the rushing game too. Nick Chubb so far has not gotten a lot going as far as rushing goes. 3 for 3 for 4 yards. So yeah, he's lost a few there. Again, pretty slow start. Time of possession, I think, is heavily been in favor of Cleveland. That will play a factor a lot later. Let's see, what do we got? 6 to just under 4. That's always a concern for me more than I think a lot of people, just because of the fact that by the third and fourth quarter, the defenses start getting tired. This is a problem the Giants have had for a long time, where they do so many 3 and outs that their defense gets tired. Today, the Giants only gave up 7 points. They got Conklin on the cart, so he's going to be done for a few weeks on that. Sad. That sucks, dude. That really sucks. He's playing in pretty good spirits, but whenever they bring that card out, that's always a bad sign. Right now, second down and 15 at their own 42-yard line. And facing a very long third and 16, I think. A screen pass in this particular case is not usually the best idea, because now you've set up a third and long because you threw it into triple coverage. Not the best decision in there, but whatever. Moving on, see what you can do. Overall, like I said, the Browns have controlled the clock pretty well. I'm happy about that. Mayfield 5 for 9 for still 66 yards, but that's all they've got. 4 yards on the rushing game, and they're facing a really long third and 16 here. What's interesting about this one is you're looking at an old Browns rolling out, and it throws. Okay, that was going to be short anyway. Thought it was probably going to be a 10-yard pickup. So now Cleveland's facing a 4th down and 16. They're clearly going to punt. As my co-host Obie Spencer, I mean, he I think would agree with the punt. What do we got here? Are you talking? I'm talking Austin Hooper as far as rushing or passing? Just so be clear on this one. And I was going to say, are you also asking because it's is there a bet on that? I'm assuming you probably mean passing because he has a tight end, but I'm going to say yes on that. 26.5. Yeah, figured. Sometimes I'm seeing an influx. This may sound like a stupid question, but I'm seeing an influx of trick plays lately. Where you got linemen that are catching touchdowns, and you got linemen that are catching touchdowns. You got tight ends that are taking flea flickers. You're seeing a lot of different stuff here. So I just figured I'd clarify that 26.5 is not much. You can knock that out in 2. I would say probably yes in that case, but I'm still going to say it's going to be close. 29, 30 yards, I think, is probably what he's going to be picking up. What is the parlay on that? Do you know? But right now we are almost through the first quarter. Lamar Jackson's taking the ball back again. He's got to get things going. And credit to ESPN, they realized the fact that they need to fix that. So now instead of no Baltimore passing, it's Lamar Jackson again. So I'm not sure what the bet is for Austin Hooper, but I like it. I think he can pick up 30. Right now, Baker Mayfield has been solid. He's 6 for 11 for 65 yards now. But I like the chances that they're going to have. I don't think he's gotten anything just yet. Okay, yeah, Hooper has only been targeted once at this point, but it's still early. You can knock, like I said, you can knock that out with 2, and I think that's going to happen. And as far as Andrews goes, like I said, I just don't think he's going to get in because I need to say no to somebody here. What's Austin Hooper done in his career? Yeah, he's averaged 23.7 yards a game this year, which is down from every other year he's had, with the exception of his rookie year. When he was in Atlanta, it was 50, it was 33, 41, 60, and then last year with Cleveland, 30. This year, 23.7. He's got a couple of touchdowns. He's been targeted 42 times, 9.3 yards per reception. So he would need 3 catches. He could do it in 2. He'd probably need 3 to get that done. Again, I think that's plausible. You're looking at that works out to be about an average. He's averaging about He's averaging 2.5 catches a game, so it's right on the cusp there. I'm going to just go out on a limb and say yes. Can I do the same thing on Andrews? Checking his stat line. Yeah, give me a sec. Things always take longer the more impatient you are. Have you noticed that? There we go. Tight end Mark Andrews. What has he done this year? Yeah, he's averaged just shy of 70 yards a game, 5.6 catches. This year is his best year. He's had a steady improvement pretty much the whole way through. Last year he missed a couple of games there. But he started more games this year. He's played in 10, started 5, but he's still gotten 696 yards reception and 4 TDs. So he is absolutely a threat. What is the number on that? Do you know basically what is it still 26.5 for Austin for Mark Andrews as well? Because right now, if he's getting 26.5, I would sure as hell put down that bet, because you're looking at a guy, like I said, who's averaged 69.6 yards a game and averages 5.6 catches this season. That's higher than what he's ever had so far, but it's something that I like. And yeah, I would love to see what the number is in this case. So, Psychology, how you doing? You doing good out there? Thanks as always for tuning in. I appreciate it. You guys are rocking. Oh, just on him to score. Okay. 4 TDs in 10 games, 5 of which being starts. I'm going to say no, but boy, that's a 50-50 on that. I think right now, also in this case, Baltimore just took a flag. So maybe a holding call, depending. I'm not sure. You'll find out in a second. Just in the score. I'm going to say no on that, but it's a hit or miss so often. A lot of times, with leagues like this, you think they're going to be able to do something and they don't, and then vice versa. Who would have thought that last week Jonathan Taylor was going to be able to put up 185 yards and literally 5 touchdowns? This week he put up decent numbers, but not anything on par to what he had. Then, of course, you had Chris Godwin, who had a terrible day with Tampa Bay. I know, because he was on my fantasy league. We need to get into my fantasy league. We're going to talk about that, because holy Hannah, it's bad. Oh yeah, but they go for it. Oh, interesting. Baltimore set up for a punt on 4th down and 2, and decided to just run the ball. And you know what? They got the first down. So respect on that. Trick play. Nobody was prepped for it, and Baltimore keeps the ball and keeps things rolling. I was actually kind of pissed that they were going to punt that ball there too, because that was prime for a play like that. I think I'm like, hang on a sec. No, they're not calling a penalty. I thought there was a penalty being called. Never mind. Yeah, we're closing in on 2.5 minutes left to play at this point. Some confusion on the sideline. I'm not sure what it is right now. Was a timeout called? Because it looks like they're still calling 4th down on 4th down and 2. Yeah. I love the play. I love that idea, what they try to do right there. Oh yeah, we got to talk about the Baltimore helmet too. Yeah, yeah. I don't know what. Maybe it was a time. It was like an official timeout because I guess they blew the whistle before that play was called. But 4th down and 2. What the hell is going on right now? Yeah. Fans are pissed. Yeah, they brought Jackson back on the field, and everybody just jumped. Well, that ended that. So whatever ended up happening there. Okay. You see, this is chaos incarnate right now. Still the first quarter, and actually things are falling apart at the seams. What's going on with my Devils right now? All right, Dougie Hamilton, 9 shots on goal tonight, second most of the Devils. Sounds about right. Because you paid that guy buckets of money to be able to fix that defense. So far, it hasn't been terrible. Oh, we're about to start the third period. By the way, I'm going to be talking about the Devils' new New Jersey Devils jersey. I need to talk about this. You know, the new Devils jersey that they've got. As someone who's been a New Jersey Devils fan for literally 40 years, I can hate this jersey. You know, I am looking at this thing and I'm like, this is just absolutely unbridledly, unquestionably, inarguably terrible. Looking at this thing right now. I've been a fan of this team for literally over 20 years, or over 40 years, almost 40 years now. I have been, in my case, I grew up at the stadium, you know, at what is now the Izod Center. As a kid, I was down on the ice repeatedly. You know, booth 106 was the electronics booth, so I knew all the guys that were there. I've done commercials for the New Jersey Devils on 2 different years, including last year. And another penalty. My God, what the hell's going on here? So, yeah, all these penalties breaking out. I got to tell you right now, I'm looking at this new New Jersey Devils, the new New Jersey Devils jersey, and I hate it. You know, I like the black and white. I think it's nice. I like the red helmets, but I hate the font and the fact that they decided to put just Jersey on there. When you grow up in New Jersey and you live in New Jersey, we have a certain Italian moniker. You know, where basically, you know, you're from Jersey, you know, this is the way you talk. Everybody's Italian. You know, this is how it is. You know, growing up here in Jersey, I've had people from other areas tell me outright, by the way, 1st and 10, little pitch out right there, where they ain't getting nowhere. Because you know what? The Ravens, you know, the Ravens are the Ravens. When you're in here in Jersey, you get a lot of people talking to you and thinking, you know what, you know, you got to be Italian. You got to look like this. You know, you're from Jersey. You know, you're from Jersey there. You literally just acknowledge that you decided to name your team the nickname that basically people in this state hate to have. You know, had they named it just New Jersey, I think it would have been okay. But I think a lot of people are looking at this and are just like, this is a terrible jersey, just worldwide. And as a New Jersey Devils fan, I think I just really, really hate this, and I need to get this out of my system because again, this is not the jersey that I wore when I was doing commercials for this team, you know, and I'm not buying this jersey ever. Anyway, I'm just going to get back to this right now. My pick for the winner right now tonight, I have to go with the Ravens. I mean, right now the Ravens are too strong. This is a team that, oh my God, another flag. Again, they're playing at home and 3. They know what they're playing for. Personal foul against the defense. Cleveland's going to be losing some yardage there. Unnecessary roughness on McDowell. For me, I'm going to pick this is going to be a close match. I'm going to say probably 20-13 Baltimore is the final that I've got in my head right now. I think Baltimore is a team that is more in sync. That is a team that is more put together. And I think it's a team that's more exciting. You're looking at a Baltimore team right now, like I said, that there's a lot of question marks as far as what that team is capable of doing. You know, is Baker Mayfield their future? Is he somebody who can lead them into a playoff spot and to really just challenge? I don't think he can. You know, I don't know if it's the progressive commercials that are doing it. I don't blame him in the least for doing it, but I don't think right now that Cleveland has enough to be able to make it happen. Let's take a look at their record year by year. Yeah, so when's the last time they actually got to like an AFC championship game? That's not what I wanted. I predicted that they were going to win 12 games this year. I'm not sure that was an accurate one. Yeah, the last time the Cleveland Browns got to an AFC championship was 1989. So you were looking at 31 years, not counting this year, as Lamar Jackson throws deep down the sideline and just overthrown. Oh, let's look at those Brown there. That was but that would have been a huge pickup right there. But in this case, it actually ends up being a 3rd and 9. This is a team, like I said, the last time that the Cleveland Browns forget a Super Bowl, forget winning a Super Bowl, or even showing up. The last time that they actually got to a conference championship, George Bush Sr. was president. So the Gulf War hadn't happened yet. We did not have Super Nintendo, let alone PlayStation or anything else. That's how long it's been for Brown Nation. And it's really kind of a sad state of affairs over there. This is a team that since 2003 has had one playoff game, and that was last year when they lost in the first round of the playoffs. But from 2003 until 2019, that team, the Browns have never made the playoffs. And to take it a step further, they've had 1, 2, not counting this season. Since they won, they lost in the wild card in 2002. From 2003 to now, they have had 2 winning seasons, and the Browns have had a losing season for every single season outside of that. It's a shame over there because it's a good fan base. And I love the fact that they're loyal to that team, especially when it comes to the Ravens and what happened to them 25 years ago. The Michigan game. You're talking, that was huge. And Michigan won, was it 42-24, I think? They won. Let me pull that up again. I think it was 42-24. Yeah, 42-27 against the Buckeyes. Yeah, that was big there because of the fact that the Buckeyes were considered in a lot of ways to be the team that was going to compete for the championship. The Michigan Wolverines are still 2nd overall. Michigan and Michigan State have been strong. But, Hassan Haskins was the reason. I remember talking about this morning on NFL Insiders. Hassan Haskins had 5 touchdowns. So 5 of your 6 touchdowns came from your running back. And anytime you have that, it's near impossible to lose. So I love what that kid, was able to do. Michigan has a lot to be excited about over there. You've got 2 different Michigan colleges that are doing strong this year. And I think when the 2 of them faced off earlier this year, I think it was the first time since 1964 that both teams were in the top 10. So again, if you're in Michigan, honestly, let me just say this also. When it comes to Michigan, that's all you guys have up there. The Lions are a mess at 0-10-1. The Pistons, I think, are like 4-15 or 5-14 or something like that. The Tigers are lost right now. The Red Wings are decent. They're okay. But Detroit is a great sports town, but you have crappy sports teams. And it's a shame. Living here in the New York area, we know from crappy sports teams. But we also have 168 sports teams in the New York area. In Detroit, there's not a whole lot, which is why a lot of fans are gravitating towards Michigan and Michigan State, because there is such history there, and because their teams, unlike teams like the Lions, are good, and there's a lot to be excited about. My question is, and this is where as I'm thinking about this, I'm just going to roll with this question as I go along. If Michigan, Winooski, Vermont. Okay, I know Vermont. Actually, my first memories as a child at 3 years old came from Vermont. So if Michigan played the Detroit Lions, who would win? Because I would say probably the Lions would probably still win, but boy, that would be a close match, maybe overtime. I'm really curious right now. I'm curious, if you got any thoughts or ideas on this. And I'll probably talk about this more tomorrow when everybody comes back. I don't know. Sorry about that. I don't know. Who would win? Who would win? Michigan or the Detroit Lions? Just going to throw that one out there just for kicks. Michigan is a strong team, and there's a lot to be excited about. They're 11-1 right now, 2nd overall. And I love what that, like I said, I'm excited for a team that has a lot of history there. And that was a huge convincing win against Ohio State yesterday, going for, like I said, 42-27. And Haskins is the reason for that. Oh, yeah, and Harbaugh too. Thank you. Yeah, give credit to good Mr. Harbaugh over there. It's weird. Sometimes you have coaches that struggle in the NFL, but crush it at the college level. And I think that's an example. Sometimes they're just better suited for certain players, certain mindsets. And Pete Carroll was that way for a while. Pete Carroll struggled in the NFL, went back down to college, crushed it, came back to the NFL again, and succeeded more or less in Seattle. This year specifically, Seattle has been a brutally bad team, a disappointing team for 12th Man Nation. I don't think they're used to that. I don't think they're used to being in last place, and it's a shame. How happy was our colleague? We talked about that this morning. We talked about this because Eduardo Harari, who runs Spanglish World Network and is the host of NFL Insider, he was just like over the moon because Michigan and the Dallas Cowboys are his two big teams. And he was so fired up about that game. And the fact that Michigan won in a pretty much convincing fashion with Haskins getting 5 touchdowns. Would Harbaugh have been fired if he lost that one? Maybe. I'm going to say no to that because, again, they would still be 10-2. But it would depend on how the rest of the season went. If they laid an egg the rest of the way, then yes, I think so. But that was a game that they had to win. That was a game that you needed to be able to show what you're capable of doing. And by God, they did. So they crushed it really well. And kudos to that. But, JD, let me ask you this question since actually you just popped on. If Michigan and the NCAA played the Detroit Lions in the NFL, who wins that game? My take is the Detroit Lions would probably win it, but it would be damn close, a 1-point win or overtime. But the Lions are a team in disarray. Michigan's got their stuff together. I think it'll be close. Let's see what happens if I do that. I don't know I don't know what shows up there, but I'll leave it that way, just for fun of it. So we are now 1 quarter way into this first game. We got a commercial for Annie Live on NBC. We'll be covering the Thursday Night Football at that point, so we will not be listening to Harry Connick Jr. and Taraji Henson. So quarterback could be better. That is possible. He put up mad numbers yesterday. Cade McNamara, 13 for 19, 159 yards with an interception. But I think overall this season he's been solid. Let me see his numbers. As we're kicking into the second quarter right now, 2nd down and 3. I think they got the first down. Yeah, right now for this game, he's at 14 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and an ESPN QB rating of 77.9. 2,300 yards. So he hasn't been like incredibly phenomenal, but he's been good enough to manage that team as Haskins runs the ball all over the place. So, by the way, that was in reference to this one by there. Yeah, see, I'd love to be able to find out about that and give us a thought there. So, as we're entering the second quarter right now, Jackson has been a little sluggish getting the passing game going. 4 for 6 for 22 yards, but 2 for 10 rushing yards. I did make the bold prediction that he would score not 1, but 2 touchdowns, which I think is highly unlikely. But you know what? I'm all down for the opportunity to be able to be a little bit daring in some of this stuff. So I'm going to roll with that. I'm going to say, why not? Highlighting Patrick Queen right now, 27 games overall, 5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles. That's huge. But overall, this game has been Cleveland's game. Baker's 6 for 11 for 65 yards passing. Kareem Hunt Hunt 4 for 10. Cleveland struggled to get their rushing game going, but Baltimore struggled to get anything going. 22 yards passing and only 16 yards rushing. Oh, that's right. I forgot I got a Diet Coke. So, okay. Let's look at some of those numbers here. Calais Campbell. 14 forced fumbles in his career. Nice. Baker's facing a 2nd down and 11. Back and scramble, and just tosses the ball away. I think he was out of the pocket. That was close, though. I would trust that he probably was, but that was a little closer than I expected it to be. I think, again, I'm not sold on Baker Mayfield. I want to be sold on Baker Mayfield, but I can't get down with that guy yet. I just don't know where he stands. I don't think they have a lot left on his contract. Let me check Spot Track. Spot Track is a great website to be able to check something like that. How many years does he have left? Okay, yeah, he is owed $18 million next year. So he's past the rookie contract. Baker's rolling out, throws the ball away, and now it's fourth down. Yeah, so in this case, Baker is owed just shy of $19 million next year. That's going to be a crush against the cap. Is he worth it? That's his last year. Is that something that they're going to want to basically just drop him outright, given what Pittsburgh's got coming out and a few of the other players coming in, QBs coming into the draft? Also, you look at it from the availability of Aaron Rodgers being possibly available, Russell Wilson being available, Roethlisberger being available, but he's not going to go in division. At least I don't think so anyway. But that $19 million, is that enough to be able to be like, worthy of Baker? Is Baker Mayfield worth $19 million next year? I'm not sure he is. Looking at his numbers right now, he's averaging 217 yards passing. He has 10 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and he's going to get paid $19 million next year. I don't like that. I just don't. And I don't know if he's going to be able to make anything happen. This is arguably his worst year so far. By comparison, 2018 to 2020. 2018, 27, 14 touchdowns, interception. 22, 21, 26, and 8 last year. That's the numbers that you want out of a third-year quarterback. This year, 10 and 6. His completion rate overall, let's see, what's his completion rate? Where am I looking? Is 64%. That is actually highest this year. But again, you look at him and you look at how much money he's going to get owed, and the fact that the team is 6 and 5. The team's in last place, but they're still 6 and 5, and that's not what you want to pay him for. I don't like it. I just don't. I would consider the possibility of being able to just let him go, take the cap hit, and start moving on. You've got a plethora of strong quarterbacks possibly available, both between the draft and free agency as well. I think this is Matt Ryan's last year too. So you've got a few QBs that are going to be available next season. Free agent next year. What do we got? Yeah, well, Cam Newton too. Cam Newton, he was solid the first couple of games there. Let me pull that back up. Love it when basically you get these ads that are like, here, learn about those political things. I don't want to know about all of it. Leave me alone. Yeah, see, Cam right now, in the 2 games that he had averaged 77% passing. And there's a lot to be excited about. I look at Cam Newton as basically being that one guy who was in a really long-term relationship. They broke up. It didn't work out. He dated someone else for a little while, and then just sort of just as like a rebound, and then just kind of you know what? I think it's better off that we're back together again. And it worked out. They did lose today to the Washington football team. Heineke actually had 3 touchdowns. But Cam Newton went 21 for 27 passing, 189 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and ran for a touchdown as well. That guy, to give you an idea of what his numbers are, I don't know what the passing yards are. I haven't figured that out in my head. But in the 3 games that Cam Newton has had since coming back to the Panthers, he has thrown for 5 touchdowns and run for 3 with 0 interceptions. His completion rate going into this game was a 77.4%, I believe was the number. However, 21 for 27 works out. That's probably right on par. I'd say that's damn close, actually. 21 for 27 is 77.7%. So he is still throwing remarkably well. He is carrying that team. And if they're going to get back to the playoffs, it's going to be very much on him because they've done it with him 4 times prior. I don't think the team can get that far, but I think they have the possibility of being able to get into the playoffs if they can fix a couple of key things here. That game, they gave up too many points in the second quarter. That defense gave up 369 yards overall, a lot of rushing yards. Washington ran for 190 yards and went 6 for 13 on third down. If you are averaging 50% on third down, you're probably going to win. And that's what ended up happening. Washington just held onto the ball, kept things rolling, and eventually got the win. But what's curious about this now is that with Washington, they are 4-6. The Giants are 4-7. And after beating the Eagles are 5-7. So there's the NFC East is starting to drop down a little bit. The Cowboys are now lost 2 straight, 3rd down and 4, and they're short. Okay, this is Jackson just ran for 3. 4th down and 1 at their own 47-yard line. I'd like to see them go for it. I think Obie would want that too. Obie, I know for a fact, will want that here. But I think, yeah, it was a faked handoff. Tried to run for the ball. They're going for it, giving it to Lamar, and he got it by as my father would say, a layer of paint. They're going to give him the first down, but damn, that was not by much. But the NFC East right now is starting to decline. The Cowboys have lost 2 straight, and now they're 7-4. The Eagles are 5-7. They lost today. I'm a Giants fan. The Eagles should not have lost today. It just should not have happened. But the Giants now are half a game out of second place in the NFC East. So you want to talk about 2021 being weirder than 2020. That's what you look at right there. Coming up next week, the Giants are playing on the road against the Dolphins. That's winnable. Then they got the Chargers, the Cowboys, the Eagles again, the Bears, and then the Washington football team. The Eagles right now, who do they got coming up? The Eagles have the Jets next week. Okay, so green on green. Then they're at home against Washington. Giants, like I mentioned, the day after Christmas, playing on the road against Washington, and then playing at home against the Eagles. So they have the Eagles have 4 division games in their last 5. And then the one game after that, one game not counting that, is against the Jets. So, yeah. Hurts was garbage. Yeah. You can't do. Here's the thing. You can't have 4 turnovers, so and be able to find a way to win. However, when you're the Giants, because the Giants, by God, they made that interesting. Painfully, sadly interesting. The Giants easily could not have won that game. And I'm very surprised they did. This still brings a lot of question marks with that team because they fired Jason Garrett. They got Freddie Kitchens doing the offensive vision calling, and they still only scored 13 points. So, the coaches take the fall, but you had a chance to be able to make a statement, run the score a little bit, and you only still got 13. What does that say about the team? I was going to say the Eagles still have a very easy and very important schedule because they're playing so many games inside the division. Again, only 1 game against the Cowboys, but who knows? That game on January 9th might be for the NFC East. It's entirely possible because right now I don't know what's going to happen. Jackson just took off for about 13 or 14 yards. God, I love that guy's legs. Man, I really do. Again, Jackson is the kind of quarterback that you can build a team around. If, the Giants had somebody like Lamar Jackson or Russell Wilson, by the way, JD, if you're on tomorrow, we are sure, Sam, talking about that a little bit. Jalen Hurts, I don't want to give up on that kid yet. I don't want to say it's him, but the Eagles are a lost team right now as well. And anytime you lose to the Giants, anytime you score, anytime you keep the Giants to 13 points and still lose, you're a messed up team right there. But 2 seconds, 1 second, the play clock is done. We're closing in on 7.5 minutes left in the second quarter. Lamar Jackson threw it over the top. He had him wide open. That would have been a touchdown too, but he threw it over the top. But I don't know. I talked to you. I talked to my buddy Tom Kerwacki, who's also a diehard Eagles fan, Obie being too. And I was fully anticipating having to basically hear it from Eagle Nation about the fact that the Eagles won today. But of course they didn't. Who would have thought? Again, because 2020 is weirder than 2000, or 2021 is weirder than 2020. Let me pull this up for a second. All right, second down and 10. Lamar is taking the ball, running the ball a lot more now. He took a little bit of a hit, but he picked up about 9.5 yards there, and sets up a very manageable 3rd and 1. He has gotten going. He probably leads the team in rushing at this one. Oh my God, yes. Lamar Jackson, seven carries, 36 yards. The rest of the team has 7 carries for a combined total of 10 yards. So it is all Jackson in this. All Jackson in this case. He's struggling getting that passing game is struggling to get going. But again, the difference maker is what he can do. Put that out. And first down there, and moving onward. Dallas is taking a dive in this. Yeah. I think they'll still probably win the division, but I think it'll be close. Yeah, I think Dallas. I think if I got to look this up, but I think has historically suffered in December, but in the last since like 2015, I think they've got like a 680 win percentage, something like that. Dallas Cowboys December wins, something that way. Yeah, Dallas in the last 5 years actually has gone 14-6. So I'd be a little worried about that team right there. 14-6 is a 700 win percentage. They've averaged 25 points a game, given up just under 20, and had a 65% fourth down ratio. So, but if you go back the last, say, 25 years, yeah, they're 48-53 in the last 25 years. So they've heavily turned it on the last 5 years there. Let's see. The last 15 years is 33-29. Last 10 years, 24-17. Not bad either. So, but I don't know. It's still Dallas's division to lose. So I'd like to be able to see what they can do. My buddy Sheldon, it'll make him very happy because Sheldon boldly and arrogantly predicts every single year that the Cowboys are going to the Super Bowl, and they're going, in this case, undefeated this year, 17-0. So we take great delight in the guy who inadvertently caused someone to get arrested at my wedding to watch the Cowboys fail. It's a personal thing. The guy did push-ups without a shirt on my reception floor. Conversations for another time. But but I like Sheldon anyway. He's a good dude. But he's a diehard Cowboys fan. And he's a lot of fun to bust on because of his unbridled arrogance when it comes to that team. Let's see. How are the Devils doing? They were tied at 2 before. Oh, cool. Devils are up 4-2. Yay. They had to win this game. They needed to beat Philly. Good. Keep that up there. I had a feeling they were going to take this game, but boy, do they need to. If you're a Devils fan, you have not had much success, and it's been a very painful 10 years. The only year that they made the playoffs was 2017-2018 season. Not coincidentally, that was the year they ran one of my commercials, which was nice. It was kind of funny because I'm just like, I'm a Devils fan. I've got these stories. I got this merch. Do you want me to do something? I'm like, okay, yeah, go ahead. So they brought me into, it was cool because they brought me into MSG Studios. And you see all of these cool things, so much material, so many things inside like MSG Studios itself that nobody ever gets a chance to see. And it was really kind of a really cool experience. But that commercial ran for a solid year. I was proud of it. I was happy to be able to do that. I got some really cool merch. They gave me a bunch of really cool shit. And I liked it. Like I said, it was a great chance to be able to support my team, even though the team is trash and suffers and sucks. And it's tough to be a fan. Let's see. What do we got over on the other side? All right. Lamar Jackson back. First down and 10. Throws it underneath. They're going to pick up about 9 yards on that. Nice. I don't know how this is going to work, but you know what? Just for shits and grins, let's see what happens here. So. As you can see, also, I probably had a little more weight. I was a little more round in the face at that point. But yeah, my New Jersey Devils commercial from way back, like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever it was. I was grateful for that. It was really cool. But yeah, team still sucks. Okay, what do we got here? 2nd down and 2. All right, this is the chance for Lamar Jackson, as I mentioned, to get that first rushing touchdown that I said he's going to do. Nope, not yet. Handoff picked up the first down, though. Just under 6 minutes left to play in the game. Or I'm sorry, in the first half. Baltimore with a chance to go up 10-0 at this point. I think they need to. I think if you really go up 6-0, this has not been a strong Cleveland Browns team, but you need to be able to get a 2-score game out of this. Baker Mayfield is 6 for 13 passing, only 65 yards, and on the run game, they've only had 14 yards of rushing. So this is why I mentioned before Jackson in the shotgun right now. This is why I mentioned that there's talk that Baker Mayfield has lost the locker room. I think he's short, close, within a foot of the yard line, foot of the end zone. There's been a lot of talk that Baker Mayfield has lost the locker room, and I just went over to that game. I just took a look at it real quick, just to see where that stood. They had to win that game. They're in bed. The Devs, they were on a little bit of a slide, but if the other New Jersey team can beat the other Philadelphia team today, why can't this one work out the same way? But 4.5 minutes left to play. Blackwood, did I save by Blackwood? They got to clear though. That puck is staying in the zone way too long. And a whiff, and then Philadelphia inadvertently knocks it out. Okay, cool. All right. Did Jackson get his touchdown yet? Nope, not yet. Yeah, they're just trying to push. They're just trying to shove the ball into the end zone right now. It's not working. Jackson with a rollout, throws underneath, and ball was tipped. Otherwise, that would have been a guaranteed touchdown. Absolutely guaranteed touchdown. Yeah, I want to talk about, like I said, I wanted to talk a little bit about the new Cleveland Browns helmet that they've got this season, or for this particular game. I want to know your thoughts. I want to get your ideas on this. Pulling up the Baker Mayfield one. Like I said, it's a Cleveland Browns equivalent of like Alabama Crimson Tide. You know, I don't know how you feel about it. I didn't like it at first, but I'm starting to think maybe I do like it a little bit more. I think it has that old school sort of feel to it with the number on the helmet that matches the player itself. I got a thing for retro in general. You know, the Giants today wore their old color rush white jersey. I like that. I miss that kind of stuff, and I think it's pretty cool. I think at this point, I was like I said, initially I was kind of against it, but now I'm starting to look at it and be like, I kind of like this. I think it's pretty solid. Justin Tucker lining up for a field goal to put Baltimore up 6-0. This again is not what I think you needed to do, but they took a 5-yard penalty, which forced them to have to basically, take it back to the 6-yard line, and the kick is through. So I want to talk a little bit in this case about my fantasy team. Oh yeah, Justin Tucker's on his side. Okay. A little clarity first. My fantasy football team. My opponent right now is 1-10 on the season. He is one of those people that when you're watching, you're playing fantasy football, and then you just give up. You don't bother to, to change the players anymore. You don't bother to actually just change the lineup. So he has 2 guys today that are literally on the IR, not playing. To take it a step further, he benched Leonard Fournette, who ran for 100 yards, 3 touchdowns, on the ground, 7 catches, and a receiving touchdown. He has left the best player on the bench by a wide margin and has 2 players that are not even playing in his lineup. Having said that, he is still on pace to probably win because my fantasy team is a pile of hot garbage. I am very proud of my name. It's Cobra Kyler. But how do you do that, man? When I got money in this league. I don't do a lot of fantasy league. But how the hell do you actually have a fantasy team that's going up against a guy who is benched, who basically doesn't even look at it anymore, and you find a way to lose? Right now, if you look at it on top, the chances of winning are 20%. And that's with Fournette being benched and 2 guys not even playing. One of these years I'm going to stop actually putting money into it, but it will not be this year. I'd love to be able to actually get a decent team once in a while, but I don't think it's ever going to happen. I think it's my fantasy league is trash. My nose is clogged, by the way. The more I'm talking, the more I'm going into this, the more my nose is really starting to clog up. And Devils are up 5-2. I guess they got an empty netter. So, well, I got something going for me. But if I'm rubbing my nose a lot, it's because my nose itches like a bastard right now. And it's cold. It's cold and crap in this house. But I apologize for my nose being a little bit clogged at this point. It's the time of year. It's New Jersey. We're a week away from December. And so make the best of it best you can. But in the meantime, as always, you can find us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and also on Twitch at StreamPunk Sports. And if you want to look at us on Twitter, it is StreamPunk Sport Solo because they don't allow the S in the end. They only allow 15 characters. But drop us a question, drop us an idea, any comments, complaints, thoughts, anything you want to go into as we're now down to just under 4 minutes left in the first half. Kick off into the end zone, and Baker Mayfield takes over again. He has not had a good game. 6 for 13 yards, 65 yards. 6 for 13 passing, 65 yards. No sacks, which is something. But this is not who you drafted. The man, like I mentioned earlier in the show, Baker Mayfield is owed $18+ million next year. You're paying for a guy right now with 10 touchdowns, 6 interceptions in his 4th year, well down from what his numbers previously were. And he's not even being pressured that much. He's dropped back 13 times. He's been hit twice. He's actually had 2 knockdowns, but they're not putting a lot of pressure on him. He's just not getting the job done. He's thrown deep over the sideline, and okay, that's a good pickup. So that's a 40-some-odd yard pick. All right, that like I said, that gets things going a little bit. But a little gimpy. But like I said, I want to be sold on Baker Mayfield. I really do. But I can't be. I just don't like he's so streaky that you don't know what you're going to get out of him. The Cleveland Browns put a lot of hope and a lot of faith into him, and it really has not worked out. The Browns, as I mentioned earlier in the show, have not been to an AFC championship game. Forget Super Bowl, forget winning the AFC championship. Just getting to an AFC championship. The Browns have not done that since 1989. That is 31 years, not counting this season. Additionally, since 2003, the Browns have had a winning season 2 times. So, yeah. And that includes last year when they went to the playoffs. I don't think he can get it done. It kills me to say it. I like the guy, but I don't think he's got enough to be able to make things happen the way that they should. And he's not the answer. I mean, do you go out and do you pick somebody up in free agency? Russell Wilson may be suddenly available. Aaron Rodgers may be available. Ben Roethlisberger may be available, but I don't see him going out there. Hell, Jarvis Landry. I think it was Jarvis Landry. Jarvis Landry, I think, just got sacked. But a fumble, I think he lost the ball. And Baltimore's saying they have it. And Baltimore has it. All right. So you sack Jarvis Landry and actually forced a fumble. Actually, that's a good thing. I have them on my fantasy league. So I have Baltimore fantasy team. So yeah. How often do you see a wide receiver get sacked? Not very often. I like it though. But sack, yards lost. Baltimore takes over with, I believe, 3 timeouts and plenty of time left on the clock at their own 35-yard line. So they can make a lot happen in this time and be able to start building something and take, frankly, a two-score lead into the half. Just for God's sakes, make it a touchdown, please. Thank you very much. So let's see. Let's see. What do we got here? Oh, yeah, Marcus Mariota. That's a name. So picked up Tannehill. And Tannehill got on the radar, I think, when he beat Tom Brady and the Patriots and was in the playoffs, I think. That's where he solidified himself. But yeah, Brown should consider the same with Baker. I mean, like I said, he's owed $19 million next year. Now that obviously is 100% not on him. And Lamar Jackson just threw an interception himself. So much for what I just literally finished saying about the fact that Baltimore can start making something happen here. All it ended up happening was Cleveland went back 35 yards. So in 2 plays, we've had 2 turnovers. Yeah, it was a tip. That ball was tipped. I'm not sure it was intended for that receiver. But Ward with the pick. So Cleveland needed that big time. So, okay. It was a tip, or we didn't think it hit the ground. Now I guess they're calling it an interception on that. Lamar looks pissed. I don't blame him for it. That ball was catchable. That's one of those bad interceptions is you don't want to blame on the receiver, but it hurts your stats and not theirs. And you're just like, I'm not going to come out and say you suck, but I'm thinking in my head a little bit. Baker with a pass over the top, so they picked up 11 yards and got out of bounds. Cleveland with 2 timeouts and new life to be able to start making something happen. At this point, Baker is at 7 for 14, 106 yards. Again, very middle of the pack. Baker's back over the top. They're throwing a lot of passes to the sidelines there for 7 or 8 yards, but it's working. It's moving the ball. We're closing in on the 2-minute warning at this point. Cleveland now has to be a little bit careful because if they score too quickly, Baltimore can and will get the ball back. So you have to look at, from that perspective, how much time can you burn off the clock when you're that close. Nice overhead shot in M&T Stadium. Let's see. Devils officially win yet? Yeah, I guess they did. Yay. So, all right. Like I said, as always, you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube at StreamPunk Sports. And also on Twitter at StreamPunk Sport Solo. So StreamPunk Sports at the bottom of all those. And because Twitter only allows 15 characters, StreamPunk Sport singular. But yeah, as always, basically as far as Twitter goes, Instagram and Facebook, I typically drop trivia, facts, knowledge. I drop some knowledge on you, to use, vernacular the kids are using these days. The Washington football team. They keep talking about what they're going to use as far as the new team name goes. I don't remember what they've got. Let's see. New Washington team name. Supposedly they narrowed it down to officially 3, but of 8 different teams. So the 8 names that are in the running right now. Oh, that's good. And thanks, Yahoo. You're like, it narrows it down to 3 teams. We're not going to mention the damn names, but we're just going to mention the fact it was 3. Okay. Let's see. How about this guy? There we go. So, Washington next season will be called A, the Red Hogs, B, Defenders, C, Armada, D, Presidents, E, Brigade, which I got to tell you, I personally like, G, E, F is Commanders, G, Red Wolves, and then, of course, H, and the last possible option, the Washington football team will be called the Washington football team. I've never been a fan of calling them football team. I hate it when news articles refer to them as football team. Everyone knows everything. They're all football teams. Just call them Washington. Keep it simple. You don't use the Redskin name. That's fine. I get it. I have no problem with that. But don't call them football team. Just call them Washington. I've made it a habit until the Cleveland Indians could figure out what they wanted to go with. I just called them Cleveland. I figured it was just easier that way. All right. Uniquely me is like they all sound horrendous. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like the brigade. I think it's there's a distinct lack of team nicknames in sports that doesn't have an S on the end. So I like the brigade from that standpoint. Armada is not bad. I'm not as big on it. Red Wolves, I think is the team that the name that a lot of players want. Washington football team, again, no, not a fan. Don't like it. I do actually, going back to the Cleveland Indians, I do like the Guardians. I think that's a solid name. Apparently it has some kind of like Cleveland lore, although I don't remember exactly what it is. But I'm a fan of the Guardians. And I don't know. I like the logo. I like a lot of stuff with it. And I know a lot of people aren't crazy about it. But what I want to know is what happens with what happened with the Cleveland Guardians. What happens to the Major League movie franchise? You've got Major League, Charlie Sheen's breakout role. You got Wesley Snipes in that. Dennis Haysbert. You got a bunch of people in that. But they went by the name of the Indians. So can you still play the Major League movie? Do you somehow blur out the name across the front and change it to Guardians, or just somehow blur it out? I don't know. I really don't know what's going to happen there. Yeah, I was going to say. Okay, so uniquely means like the Red Bulls. The Red Bulls. The Red Wolves aren't awful. I like I said, I like that. I would say the Miami Heat, Orlando Magic, Utah Jazz, Seattle Kraken, Oklahoma City Thunder. Most of them in the NBA, from the sound of it. Are there any other teams that lack an S at the end of the nickname? There's got to be a couple others in there. I got to think about it. Look at the NBA. I'm going to start with the NBA first. Let's see. With the Heat, we covered that. Western Conference. Yeah, the Jazz talked about that. Thunder, yeah, okay, all right, maybe not. NHL. What do we got in the NHL? Kraken, like I said, I know for Kraken. Looking at basically teams that don't have an S on the end. Oh, Minnesota Wild and Colorado Avalanche. Okay, that makes sense. Take a deep breath. Why? Am I breathing heavy, or is it just... All right, Cleveland's lining up for a field goal, by the way, right now. This game's been running long, too. Minute 7 left, and it's 9:45 at night already. Kick is up, and it is off the upright and in. Oh, God. Need that by a layer of paint. I love it. Oh, wait. I have Baltimore, my fantasy team. Shit, I just lost points. Damn it. Blocks. Yeah, right. MLB. Yeah, Red Sox, White Sox, of course. I think that might be it. Yeah, it might be it. All right. Take a deep breath. Take a load off, Fatty. Take a load for free. Ugh. I got to get up at 5 a.m. tomorrow, too. So, all that knowledge coming at us so fast, I didn't even have time to look at it. I didn't even have time to look at JD to ask a question on what heck one thing is before you move on to 1,000 leagues. Okay, let me say this. I am running this show on my own, and it's fine. I have no problem with that. But you're also dealing with what my brain typically is. I am, the ADHD is kicking in nicely. A little hint of the dyslexia. I'm not sure. I need to look this up, but I actually have a test schedule for next month to find out if I'm also autistic. But in my particular case, my brain works so bizarrely versus everybody else that it's so fast moving that, I try to keep things entertained. But one of the problems that a lot of times I have when I actually am kind of working on my own, and I think to my credit, I'm actually a little bit better in this particular case, is a lot of times I start talking a little bit faster, because I get a little bit hyper. I start talking about this. I feel like I got to, fill in all the blanks. If there's silence, I got to take out the silence. So as a result, I start talking faster and faster and faster and faster and faster, and then nobody can really understand what the hell I'm saying. But it took me some time. I had to get trained. I had to actually get training on this from an acting coach who actually was the guy who did the voice of the cow says moo. And one of the things he taught me is always talk like you're giving directions. So if you're trying to get from your house to mine, how would you explain it? And that's how I learned how to finally, after 35, 40 years, to be able to finally be like, I can speak at a regular pace and not confuse the crap out of people. Because again, I've had this problem where people like, I can't understand what the hell you're saying. And I'm prone to being a little bit hyper. I am running this show. I mean, I'm doing that last hour and a half all by my lonesome. So I got to keep things going. And a lot of times for me, it's just like, oh yeah, that, I mean, there was a fair amount of questions coming in. The numbers have been good. So apparently I haven't sucked completely, although it's getting late. It is a work night, so the numbers are going to probably drop off. But I'm trying to, again, keep y'all kids entertained. So I just don't know about sports to keep up. Here's what I found that actually works really well. When they assigned me the job to cover the NYCFC and knowing very little about how MLS works, I studied the crap out of statistics because numbers can tell a story and you can look really smart by just memorizing some facts, and people think you're a damn savant. And so I ended up learning just stats and a lot of numbers to be able to hold in casual conversation, to hold my own against these guys who are so much smarter than I am. And it helped me a lot to be able to, hold my own that way. So for me, if you ever watch the videos that I end up doing on YouTube, a lot of them are stats based because there's a lot you can learn from that. Stats are great bullet points. So if you don't know what basically, trying to keep pace, you can talk about the fact, like I said, Cam Newton has averaged 77% passing since coming back to the Panthers. He's had 8 touchdowns in the air, on the ground, between in the air and on the ground, and no interceptions. So speaking of interceptions, Lamar Jackson just threw another one. So that is not what the Ravens needed right there. Big time. I think that's two passes in a row with 2 interceptions. But again, stats like that can make you look really, really smart, even though if you don't know a damn thing about what you're talking about. I used to do the press conferences, and I did a press conference for NYCFC earlier today. It helps to know some numbers and stats just to be able to drop them because, again, these people are so much smarter than you are. And when you have a head coach who is so ensconced in the nuances and the numbers, you have to be able to make do and not look like a complete blithering idiot. I did that. I was so intimidated on press conferences for the longest time because I felt stupid, and I was nervous. And Eduardo, to his credit, Eduardo Harari from Spanglish World Network, we had like a 15, 20-minute conversation where I'm like, I'm terrified to do these things because I feel like I'm a freaking idiot. And one thing that he said to me that was so huge, and I'm so grateful for, is he's like, they tell these people before the press conference what they're allowed to say and what they're not allowed to say. So if you ever notice that when you ask a question, they go off on a tangent on something unrelated, it's because they're not supposed to answer that. They have pre-programmed things that they're supposed to say. So in my particular case, New England's gone, they're playing against the New England Revolution in the playoffs. New England has gone 23 games between matches. How does that affect the team? Things like that. And so he went, the head coach went off on this run. About 23 days is a lot of time. They're rested, but that doesn't affect us. And then he went and talked about his little thing over here. So no stupid factoids, write them down. That's a huge fumble right there. Did they pick it up? Did Baker just drop the ball while scramble? Well, did he? I don't think that ball was tipped. I think it fell out of his hand. Oh, I got to see this. And all right. Oh my God, the Ravens recovered. There have been 4 turnovers in like the last 5 minutes of this game. No wonder it's 10 o'clock and still in the first half. Holy shit. I got to see this. Did he went back to Pat? Oh my God, that's going to be such a video. Oh my God. He literally went back to pass and the ball fell out of his hand. Holy shit. Oh God. That is going to trend on Twitter in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh man. What did Tom Karwacki just send me a message on? Yeah, Tom Karwacki, who is a really, really smart Formula One guy, just sent me a message. The fact that Philadelphia Union just won. So speaking of the topic of soccer and everything like that, yeah, the Union had a big win against the Red Bulls that kept the shootout from happening, really, down to the wire. But all right, so new life again for Lamar Jackson, who's now thrown 2 interceptions. But amazingly enough, the Cleveland Browns have had 2 fumbles, including, like I mentioned earlier, Baker Mayfield losing the locker room. You literally dropped the ball, it fell out of your hand as you're going to pass it. Wow. I freaking love that. I'm laughing my ass off here. I'll see if you can find that on Twitter again. Right, Baltimore just called a timeout, so it's the first timeout that they've given at this point. 2 timeouts remaining, 36 seconds left, and a chance to be able to pad the lead a little bit. Oh my God. Let's see. Oh, Baker Mayfield. Yeah. Let's look at the comments on this. Get Baker Mayfield out of Cleveland. I'm done with his ass. Baker dog piss Mayfield. Baker Mayfield sure does a lot of commercials for a mediocre NFL QB. Oh, yeah. Baker Mayfield may have small hands. Let's say, yeah, pass out of bounds to Brown. That was about 9 yards, but got out of bounds quick. Baker Mayfield effing sucks. Baker Mayfield jersey's on sale for this Christmas. Yeah, like I said, Cleveland Browns fans are suffering royally on this one. I'm sorry, guys. You've got a storied history. You guys do. Let's see what happens if I play this. In theory, I won't get in trouble for it, but let's find out. Lamar Jackson with a rollout, throwing deep and incomplete, but a flag. Maybe it was a pass interference. So this is the Baker Mayfield thing I just talked about, running back. And just right out of his hand. Oh, good Lord. That might trump butt fumble somehow. I mean, my God, how do you do that? Oh, man. Like I mentioned, that supposedly he lost that locker room. He's definitely going to lose that shit now. Sounds butt fumble, but again, it kind of was. I mean, here's the thing with butt fumble. I mean, it's funnier because of the fact that he ran into his own man and everything like that. Oh my God! And Lamar Jackson with another effing pick. Jiminy Christmas! There's been 5 turnovers in like the last 5 minutes of this half. Dear God, this is two teams with a winning record right now, 6-5, and a first place 7-3 team. And Lamar Jackson has just thrown 3 picks in the second quarter. What the living donkey hell is this? Oh, dear God, what a mess. Yeah, and yes, I said donkey hell. I'm okay with that. Lamar Jackson, 10 for 17, 74 yards, and 3 picks. And that was just bad. There was no receiver there at all. Great catch. Who was that? No, it's Harrison. Yeah, great diving catch by Harrison to get the interception. But there was no receiver anywhere near that ball. Oh, this is a mess. This is such a mess. Again, want to point out these are 2 teams that are expected to compete for a playoff spot. These are 2 teams, as I mentioned at the top of the show. Baltimore Ravens, if they win today, they have the first place record in the AFC at 8-3. What are we looking at here? I mean, what the blazes are we looking at? So, not bum. Yeah. All right. So it's not as bad as butt fumble. It's not as bad as butt fumble because of the fact that in the end it didn't matter. But there's a tip, and that ball was almost interception because why not? Because we need 6 turnovers in the last 5 minutes of this half. So glad I've got to get up at 5 a.m. tomorrow. But yeah, Mayfield. All right, at least he held on to the ball that time. Good. It was a good block. It was a good tip. Good tip. you and I've talked about this before, where there's no clear cut, at least coming into this week, there's no clear cut defining, leader in the NFL. I'm saying into this week, Baker throws it out of play. I'm saying until this week because right now I'm going to go New England. New England has dismantled 5 of the 6 teams they've played in this 6-game winning streak. And if Baltimore ends up losing this game, New England will have the best record. I believe they'll have the best record in the NFC. Or I'm sorry, the AFC. Let me just clarify that real quick. 7-4. No, you know what? I feel like I'm correcting myself here. Yeah, Patriots are 8-4. So yeah, if the Ravens lose, they would be 7-4, and the Titans would be 8-4 as well. But they dismantled the Titans today. So you're looking at a team that was 2-4 that is now in first place in the AFC East and would have the first round bye if the season ended today. Now, again, that's all if Baltimore ends up losing this game, which who knows at this point with the amount of turnovers that are happening. This is like Bush League crap going on right now. What a mess. It's a nice skyline of Baltimore right there. 4th down and 6. Okay, Baltimore's punting the ball. This might do it for the first half. It is a weird league this year because, as I mentioned earlier in the show, the Browns are 6-5 and in last place. 6-5 would be good for pretty much anywhere else. 1 second left to play. They're just going to kneel the ball down. Yeah, 6-5 would be good enough for third place in the AFC East. It would be tied for second place in the AFC West because it's 7-4 and the rest of the teams are 6-5. AFC North, as I mentioned, that AFC South, that would be good for second place. And in the NFC, the Browns' 6-5 record would be second place, third place, second place, second place. So, but instead, they are dead last at 6-5. And finally, this unmerciful first half comes to an end as they need that ball down, finally get out of this with a whopping impressive 6-3 lead. Lamar Jackson is not impressing me, which sounds about right because I talked his praises and usually everything goes to shit when I do that. Typically, if I say somebody does well, they are going to probably go to crap, and that's what ended up happening here. Parity equals mediocrity. Indeed. Like I said, no team for the most part is standing out, except I would say New England, and then on the other side of the fence, Green Bay, and also I still stand by the Bucs. The Bucs were close today. That was 38-31. They did get that win, but they went against a strong Colts team. But you look at the importance of home field. Aaron Rodgers is 85-21. Correction, now with today's win, 86-21-1 at home in his career. Aaron Rodgers is 55-50 on the road. So the importance of him getting first place overall is monstrously huge because of what his overall record is. This game was a game that the Rams had to win, and obviously were unable to. But you look at a team like Aaron Rodgers in what may be his swan song. The Packers, they needed that first place. They have to do it if they're going to have a shot at this point. And I did predict them to actually be one of the 3 teams that was probably going to be most likely to go to the AFC. God damn it, I'm tired. The NFC Championship game. So right there, yeah. The Cowboys, not as much. The Cowboys right now have lost 2 straight. It's suddenly gotten to a little bit more of an interesting division there because of the fact that the Eagles, had they won today, would have been only a game and a half out of first place. I did predict the Eagles to win this game. They were a much better team on the road than they were at home. The Eagles were coming into this game 1-4 on the road. They were 1-4 at home, 4-2 on the road until today's game. The Giants now have improved themselves to 3-3 at home and 1-4 on the road. So the Giants are what the Giants are. Like I said, I mentioned this earlier on. As a Giants fan, as a longtime Giants fan, I would love to see them take a run at Russell Wilson. They've got 2 first-round picks next year. You drop one, you drop a second one, you take Russell Wilson. This is a team that has not had a badass leader since Michael Strahan. Eli Manning was the leader of that team, but he didn't have that air of badassery to him. Russell Wilson has the air of badassery. Lamar Jackson, despite his game today, has an air of badassery to him. Daniel Jones does not have an air of badassery. He is that nice kid. He is that nice next door kid that, that your mom wants to, that mom wants to basically his daughter to take to the prom. He doesn't have that kind of like, oh shit, him moment. Michael Strahan had that, oh shit, him moment. He is technically the all-time single season sack record, I believe. But even if he wasn't, he was an intimidating presence. And you knew what he was bringing to the table. He was the leader of that team until he retired. And Eli is a Hall of Famer, but he didn't intimidate. And that's where I think it comes down to. And when you're a Giants fan, you need to have that LT Michael Strahan sort of intimidation. Kerry Collins, I think, had that a little bit as well. But the Giants, I would love to see them take a run at somebody with that degree of badassery. Russell Wilson would be my first pick. You've got draft picks. You'd have to figure out something with the contract because of the fact that the Giants have no cap space right now. So you'd have to figure something out with that regard. But, but I would love to see the Giants get something to be like, all right, we're back, we're rolling, we're running, something to be, to have teams be able to look at it and suddenly be like, oh crap, him. Mac Jones, he is not there yet, but you have Belichick beating that one guy to be like, oh shit, Belichick. Yeah. And I was going to say, I'm going to put both these comments back to back. Yeah. Strahan sack was completely bogus. That's why I said technically, I mean, listen, he had a great season anyway. Even if he didn't, regardless of how you feel about it, he had a damn good season that year and a great career across the board. So he had that badassery there. But yeah, Favre, he fell down and then hugged Strahan immediately afterwards. His linemen were freaking pissed. I don't blame him for that. So, oh boy, do I pick up Daniel Jones's option for year 5? What is his contract? Yeah, they picked up his I don't know. I mean, I don't see it happening. I think with what's going on there, let's see what the number. I just want to see what the numbers are first. Yeah, I mean, he's got a manageable. It's a 4-year deal. It's a $4 million deal overall in cash. Dead cap space is $8.3 million though. Cap hits 8.3. So, yes, I would maybe. And here's where I'm not giving a great answer on this. Because, again, I just talked about Russell Wilson. If you get Russell Wilson, Daniel Jones is out of a job. You look to trade him. You look to get rid of him. You look to figure something out. Who knows? Maybe you do a straight-up trade. You send Daniel Jones. Why not? You send Daniel Jones out to Seattle and a couple of draft picks for Russell Wilson. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they let him go. The only reason I'm saying this in this particular case, right? First round is they had the option to pick up year 5. I don't know. There was so much riding on his success that his lack of growth has pretty much cost Dave Gettleman his job. There's been a lot of talk that Gettleman is out at the end of this year. Jason Garrett was already gone. Freddie Kitchens took over today, which again, Freddie Kitchens was the new offensive coordinator. They still only scored 13 points. So was it really Jason Garrett? No, I don't think it was. But, the coaches go first. It's typically how it goes. Yeah, I know. Dude, I know. They're not going to. Seattle's not going to take him, I know. But I'm just throwing that out there because what are you going to do with Daniel Jones anyway? I figured just for the fun of it, why not? I don't think they're going to fire Pete Carroll yet because he's brought them success. He brought them a Super Bowl, and this is an anomaly year. If it happens next year, I would say yes, it's very possible. But I think he gets a free pass this year, but he's on a little bit more of a watch because the team has struggled so heavily. I'd like to see him he deserves a chance to be able to try and resolve this, and I think getting back into the playoffs in any facet or form, even if it's a 10-7 record at like 6th, 7th place, I think would be enough to keep his job next season. But this year is a lost year, and it's a shame because Seattle, the 12th man is huge. But having said that, going 10-7 next year, I think it's going to be very difficult because the Cardinals have Kyler Murray. That team is 9-2. The Rams are rejuvenated right now with Matthew Stafford under center. And the 49ers are 6-5 this year. And they have a lot going for them as well. So it's going to be really tough for the Seahawks, I think, to get back into the playoffs. But yes, I would give Pete Carroll another shot. Schneider might be in trouble. Yeah. Wilson's if that happens, Wilson will demand the trade. He might demand the trade anyway. He's pissed off as hell. And I think he would be willing to come to New York. He does. I mean, the New York Yankees literally traded for him for the spring training roster because of the presence he brings. And he's a phenomenal athlete that it was good. And it was a really smart move that the Yankees literally traded to pick up Russell Wilson. But he likes this area. And I think he could be sold on coming here. I think it could be something similar to like what Kurt Warner did in 2004 when he came here, but for a longer period. Kurt Warner started those 9 games. That was the end of his time. I think Russell Wilson could, if they restructure that contract, he could do 3 or 4 more years. And yes, his wife would love New York City too. Seattle, I mean, what do you got over there? Microsoft, Nintendo, and coffee. Seattle doesn't quite have the glitz and the glamour. And we talked about this with Odell. Odell needed a bigger market. LA is that bigger market there. Cleveland, no. And that supposedly there was some talk that the Packers were going to look at him, and he might have been willing to go to Green Bay, but the veteran offer that they offered him was not enough for him to be able to say, yes, I'm going to take it. Green Bay, I think, would have been enough. It's not a huge city, but it's a huge sports town. And I think he would have been embraced over there just as much as he would have been in LA, but for slightly different reasons. But Russell Wilson's wife, yeah, she would definitely go down for that. I realized how I said that, and probably should have reworded that, but you know what I mean. I think she'd be down for that. But yeah, Ciara. She's 36 also. She's 36. Russell Wilson's, I think, 33. All right, so he married a little bit older. Good on him. Before that, he was married to Ashton Meem. So, but yes, I think Ciara would do really well. There's also a lot of work for her to be able to do modeling, glamour events. There's a lot that she can do in that area. So, yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense in a lot of different ways. And I think the Giants, if they're able to get Russell Wilson, suddenly immediately have credibility again. Because I think that team is not that far off from at least competing for a playoff spot. And additionally, to take it a step further, if Russell Wilson comes to New York, then you can start maybe bringing some other free agents in who want to play with him. And that gives me, a suffering Giants fan, some level of hope. The Giants right now are the second most losing team since 2017. Only one loss behind the New York Jets, who also won today, beating Tyrod Taylor and the Houston Texans. Props on that. The Texans' only 2 wins this season have come with Tyrod Taylor under center. So I really kind of expected the Texans to be able to win at home. But respect to the Jets. I mean, they won that game. It's going to hurt their chances for the draft pick next year because they're in habitual competition with the Jags. But it was a good win for that team. I think they needed that. The Jets upcoming we mentioned the Eagles. I know that coming. Yeah, they got the Eagles at home against the Saints, on the road against the Dolphins, at home against the Jags, at home against the Bucs. That's going to be rough. And then on the road against the Bills. So the last couple of games are going to be nasty for the Jets. But they can win. The Jets can go 3-3, I think, on the way out. I think they can they'll beat either the Eagles or the Saints, one or the other. And then the Dolphins are beatable and the Jags are beatable. And the Bucs, no, I don't think you're beating the Bucs. You may be at home, but Brady loves playing against New York teams in general. And the Bills are not going to beat that team either. Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb and say 3 for that team. But yeah, right now, no, I'm not talking next year. I'm talking the years after that. When it comes to the Giants, yeah, they have no cap space, which is going to make the Russell Wilson deal very difficult unless they can figure out a way to restructure it. But if they're able to do that, I'm not talking next year. I'm talking the years that follow, where he rejuvenates his career, he gets a second start, and then at that point you can start bringing in new players once you have a little more cap space to be able to work with. Let's see, Giants cap space 2023. What do we got? Salary cap calculator. Yeah, they're boned this year. Okay, this year they've got $2.5 million in cap space. Next year 3.9, but 2023 they have $93 million in cap space. That's the year that you start bringing in free agents for Russell Wilson if he's still healthy. Next year again, not going to happen. But I'd like to see them do it. I just don't think it'll happen. Yeah, Leonard Williams. Okay, yeah, his worth $18 million on that. Adoree Jackson's getting $11 million in 2023. Yeah, the Giants, like I said, they're struggling in that particular regard. They put so much money into so many players right now, and they're just not getting anything out of it. The defense is not terrible, but the offense is trash. And that's where Jason Garrett had to get the axe, but in many ways did not deserve it. So we are about ready to start the second half at this point. The Browns are kicking off. This is good for Lamar Jackson. Actually Baker as well. You can right the ship. You can center yourself again. You can make a good drive here to get things rolling and get things happening again. But how much is the Solder cap hit if they cut him this season? Solder's $39.5 million against the cap this year. It's $4 million next year. It's a little more manageable. He'd be $4 million if they cut him next year. But this year's 13. Dead money is 13.5, and then cap savings is $4 million. Holding on the defense. So we are back up and running again, and pretty penalty. Ravens just bumped into the referee there. There was no flag on that. Come on, man. You're supposed to throw a flag when basically a player bumps into a ref, remember? Yeah. Defensive hold. Yeah, all right. All right. I'm still struggling with that whole thing of Lamar Jackson being able to run the ball in not once but twice. I don't see that happening yet. So not a good pass there. Top only picked up 3-ish yards out of bounds. Yeah, I don't know. Andrews might get in there too, but somebody asked me earlier if I thought Nick Chubb and Andrews was going to be able to get into the end zone. I said yes to Nick Chubb. I said no to Andrews. But I think he had money riding on it. He also had, I think, he may have had money riding on Andrews getting 29 yards pass or receiving. All right. Now facing a third down and about 6 on that. Baltimore's not making things happen to start the second half the way they want to. Stat line: Jarvis Landry 0 for 0, 1 sack, 1 yard. Baker 10 for 22, 128 yards, 1 sack. But those two fumbles, including the one that, like I said, became an instant internet meme. Oh Lord, that play right there might go down as like one of the ESPN's like top 10 worst plays of the year in the NFL. What a shame. Yeah, they got the first down. All right, good on them. So 13 minutes on the planes to go. Okay, Jackson starting to make things happen, pick things up in the second half. There was a rough talking to, no doubt, in the locker room. You can't throw 3 picks like that. And, the fact that you're up by 3 after throwing 3 picks like that is huge. Credit to the Baltimore defense. Absolutely credit to the Baltimore defense for that. Snap. Yeah, picked up about 3 on that. That's not terrible, but keeps the clock moving. Keeps the Baltimore defense on the field. That's huge because I think time of possession's got to be close. You got to be near 50-50 at this point, I'd imagine. Made a liar out of myself. Yeah, Baltimore's had the ball for almost 20 minutes at this point versus Cleveland, almost not even 13. Penalties have been solid so far. Only 7 penalties between the two teams. Unlike a certain Thanksgiving Day game where literally there was 28 total penalties. Jackson's rolling out, takes the ball and runs with it, and picks up about 2, runs out of bounds. Yeah, that Thanksgiving game, the Raiders won in overtime, props to that. But there were literally 28 penalties between the two teams for a combined 278 yards. At some point, you just got to let the players play. But what a mess. But yeah, 14 penalties on each side. I think Dallas had 168 yards in penalty yards, and then the Ravens had 110. I think that's what the number was. But slightly better today, at least. Jackson back to pass, rolling out, and just he throws the ball. I think he's going to try and. That's got to be pass. There it is, pass interference. Absolutely. It was a lob up to Andrews, a one-on-one pass play right there. That would have been your 29.5 yards had the ball been caught. Earlier in the show, I forgot who it was that asked that. But yeah, Mark Lechner asked about that. That would have been easily your 30 yards on that had that ball been caught. But that was, I think, a smart pass interference play. He's going to get that ball running into the end zone. But yeah, that's not the worst penalty right there. Yes, I yawned. I know. But sets up Baltimore already inside the 20-yard line, which is exactly what they needed to make things go in here. As always, I am Baggy-Eyed Scott. Find us always on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Twitch at Streampunk Sports, and also on Twitter at Streampunk Sport. Singular, because there's only 15 characters allowed. This, of course, is reaction rambling, much rambling by me, and commentary about the Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns right now. We're sitting at 11 minutes left to play. It's an impressive 6-3 score at the moment. That looked like a catch. They're replaying the Andrews catch. It looks like the ball didn't hit the ground. I thought that was just a penalty on that. I took my eyes off. And Jackson goes down for a sack. Nope. Nah, he didn't get credit for that. But Andrews needs another 16 yards to be able to get, 17 yards to break the spread of 29.5 yards. Okay, so Jackson takes a sack, 10 minutes left to play. They play 62 yards, just under 5 minutes clock, which is keeping the Baltimore defense on the field. And that's, again, a big deal. Typically, I don't remember what the win percentage is, but I think if you throw for 3 interceptions in a game, you have like an 18% chance of winning, something like that. Let's see, football perspective. Just the interceptions. It's hard to find that answer on this. Anyway, close that out. Yeah, Jackson's only been hit once so far too, which is good. He's been hit 8 times rushing the ball, which is the downside a little bit of a running quarterback. In the pocket, he's been hit once. Running the ball, he's been hit 8 times. Third down and 10. Throw the ball in the end zone and touchdown. Finally, we got a touchdown. And that is Andrews. There you go. Congratulations. You got it. You got the touchdown. You got the yards on that. You got what you needed. Congratulations on that. And additionally, more important, it keeps Justin Tucker from having to kick a field goal again, which can limit the amount of damage he can do to my crap fantasy team, as I'm holding on to my very, very, very slim hopes of being able to pull out a win, despite the fact that my opponent is not even watching his league, has won one game all season, and currently is starting 2 players on the IR, and also bench Leonard Fournette, who would have given him 40 points. So somehow I might be able to still pull out a victory, despite the fact that, well, my fantasy team is just unbridled, unquestioned, unarguable crap. So right now, Baltimore is now up 13-3, 9:48 left to play. Massive, massive touchdown there from Jackson to Andrews, scrolling out, scrambling, and just throwing kind of off his back foot a little bit. Andrews had to kind of run up to catch it, but caught it in the end zone anyway for the TD. So they're taking a break over there. We're not going to take a break over here, but they'll take a break over there. Let's see, what else can we go into in the meantime? You know what? Let's talk Lions for a second. I want to basically the Lions right now. This was their game for the Lions to be able to win. I think if they were ever going to have a chance to win a game this season, it was going to be that game on Thursday night. You've got a team right now when it comes to it. The Bears were 3-7. The Lions are playing at home on Thanksgiving. They have the longest history of Thanksgiving in general, dating back. Actually, they were the first Thanksgiving team in general. In 1934, they started it because the Tigers were getting too much press coverage. And the Lions were like, you know what? We need to dominate the headlines. So let's play a game on Thanksgiving. Not figuring it was going to amount to anything. It was like, all right, I'll try it. They sold out tickets to that game in 2 weeks. And as a result, Thanksgiving football was born. The Cowboys eventually started it out about 1967, I think it was, where they're like, we want to get in on that action. So the Cowboys became the second team. There was a third team, by the way, for those of you who want to know for trivia on this. In 1975 and 1977, the NFL actually awarded the then St. Louis Cardinals with a Thanksgiving game. But the Cardinals, nobody cared about the Cardinals. The Cowboys were a more popular team, so it very quickly went back to the Cowboys instead of the Cardinals, and the Cardinals were never heard from again as hosting every single year on Thanksgiving. Back to my original point, as Rambling Scott is rambling again, the Lions lost 16-14 on Thanksgiving. I figured this was going to be the one game that they were going to be able to win, because it's at home, it's Thanksgiving. You don't want to lose Thanksgiving to one of your biggest division rivals there, and a team that literally started the Thanksgiving games with you. But the Bears came from behind. They won 16-14. But looking at the Lions' upcoming schedule, they've got the Vikings Vikings at home, the Broncos on the road, the Cardinals at home, the Falcons on the road, which maybe is winnable, the Seahawks on the road, and then the Packers at home. So right now it's home, road, home, road, road, home. So 3-3. Their game against the Falcons and maybe the Seahawks is going to be their best shot of possibly getting a win. But that team is 0-10-1 right now. They were the first team to ever go 0-16. Browns being the second. But they have the potentiality of being the first team in NFL history to go. It's out of bounds, a touchback. They have the potentiality of being the first team ever to be able to actually lose 16 games in a season twice. The Chiefs did, actually, yes. The Chiefs have been continuing to try and push to get a Thanksgiving game as well. But it's just never panned out in this case, because you've got the two teams right now that are locked in for it, the Lions and also the Cowboys, who honestly are getting way too much in the ratings department in general. But you would have to the third game is always a rotating game. You would have to remove that rotating game or add a fourth. And I think a fourth is going to hurt the product. You'd have to have games overlap, or you'd have to have the game starting at like 9, 10 o'clock at night kind of thing. Sorry, I thought I actually posted that there. So, yeah, they have tried to get that going, but have never been able to make that happen. I think the Chiefs would be able to do well there. I think that's a team that has a good fan base. I think it would work out really well. But I don't see it personally happening. If the Lions or the Cowboys, decided to vacate their spot, then yes, I think the Chiefs will end up getting it. But not right now. I don't think it'll happen. I think it would be great for football and TV ratings. Because Baker is underneath and throws the ball for about 7 yards, not bad. This is something where if Baker cannot have another fumble, he cannot throw another interception, he cannot make another mistake. He is hanging on by a thread right now. He's got to get a touchdown on this drive. He's got to get something on this drive to get his team back in at this point, because the numbers he's put up in the first half have been abysmal. And that, like I said, that fumble was down in infamy. I know I'm beating a dead horse with a fumble, but I'm sorry. That was just really freaking stupid. So 2nd down and 4, just under 9 minutes to play. Baker hands it off to Chubb, who's getting nowhere fast, about a 2-yard, 3-yard loss there for Chubb, who has been relatively anemic himself, despite the fact of being having the second highest rushing yards of active players in the NFL this season. So he's only rushed the ball 4 times for a whopping 6 yards. Cleveland cannot get the rushing game going. Hunt and Chubb have been, frankly, just demolished by this Baltimore defense. And Baker hasn't been much better, which is going to force Baker to have to pass the ball, which means the touchdowns are probably going to be happening. Or I'm sorry, interceptions are probably going to happen, which works out well for me because, again, I need Baltimore to get points here. Baker back to pass, throw it underneath, and the ball is dropped. Catchable would have been a first down, but he dropped the ball, and now it's 4th down and 5. That's not on Baker at all. I don't know if that was Hunt or that was Landry, but that ball was absolutely catchable. It would have been a first down, and that ball would drop. Oh, yeah, that was that. Oh, my God, you've got to catch that. Bounced off the hand, bounced off the chest, and then bounced off the ground. And so much, like I said, I don't put that one to Baker Mayfield, but still, you got to get that first down there. The NFL wanted actual good games to flex since the Lions are shit every year. Yeah, that's probably part of the reason why I think the Lions are the first game, because by the time that game is over, a lot of people are either eating at that point or done with eating kind of thing, and you can start focusing more on stronger market teams. You can focus on the Cowboys at the 4:30 game there. There's this commercial right now. There's a T-Mobile Apple commercial where a little girl tries to save a snowman. It's sweet in principle, but she's throwing all the food out of the freezer to save a snowman, and the parents just let it happen. My parents would be like, "What the hell are you doing? Get the hell out of the freezer! You're not storing a snowman in our freezer. Put the food back." And then later on in the commercial, she actually duct tapes over the fridge and the freezer to keep it from opening. My parents would beat my ass stupid if I did something like that. I don't know. I'm old. So anyway, there's my vent on a commercial right now. And then promptly she saves the snowman, and then somebody runs over with a bicycle, and she loses it after a year. Ain't that life? But anyway, so we're continuing on at this point. I am, of course, Baggy-Eyed Scott. I'm kind of going by that moniker now because of the fact that these bags, they're rocking, aren't they? I'm happy with it, though. I struggled with the fact that I had them for a lot of years. I was very embarrassed with it, but you know what? I'm okay with it now. So, Baggy-Eyed Scott it is. It's not Giraffe Neck Mark like on YouTube, but it's close enough. All right. Lamar Jackson at this point gets the ball back. He has a chance to really be able to put a stranglehold on the Browns if he's able to get a touchdown. Field goal wouldn't be bad. That would make it a 2-touchdown game. But he has a chance to really be able to open this game up, especially because of the fact that the Baltimore offense has been on the field so much today. It's closing in on an almost 2-1 margin right now, 22 minutes to 14, to under 15. And he keeps that ball in the field. He keeps things going. And it's going to tire out that defense. And they can really start putting on points on Cleveland and turn this into a blowout. I think this is a key drive for both teams here, because this drive is going to determine the rest of this game here. If Baltimore is able to get a touchdown, I think it's pretty much arguably going to end this game. But if Cleveland is able to stop it and give the ball back, at least they have a puncher's chance. I don't know right now what the percentage is. Let's see if I can find it. It's on here. Oh, there we go. Win probability. Yeah, win probability right now is sitting at a 85% for Baltimore right now, which sounds about right. But if you look at that bar has never once been in Cleveland's favor. Well, Ravens got to be excited about this too. The Orioles are a terrible team. I like the Orioles. I have a soft spot for that team, but boy, they're terrible too. All right. First down and 10 at the 14-yard line. Lamar Jackson back to pass, and the ball is tipped out of the hand and out of the hands of Andrews and falls incomplete. Lamar Jackson's only 14 for 22. Mike Tirico is actually doing the NBC play-by-play with Chris Collinsworth. I've always liked Tirico, but I'm not sure why Al Michaels isn't doing it tonight. Yeah. Chris Collinsworth, my God, how many years has he been doing it for Sunday Night Football? I mean, his son's doing Sunday Night Football with him. This is worth, I think, pushing almost 20 years at this point. Pass underneath, first down. Chris Collinsworth also is 62 years old, and by God, he looks better than I do. Yeah, respect. Okay. All right, so he's been doing Sunday Night Football since 2010. So, did the Olympics too, respect on that. He's a color commentator on Madden 09 and 2010. Lamar runs the ball, tripped up, but gets about 3 or 4 in the process. Oh, and he also did color commentary on Madden 11 and 12. Actually, I was say we got a bunch of comments on here. I missed it. Let's see. We'll start there. And just pull Major League with the Orioles. Wow, I don't know. I hate to see that. Where would you move that team to? I mean, maybe down to Carolina, possibly. South Carolina, even maybe, depending. Nashville, maybe. It would be a shame because that team's such a storied franchise. They were the originally New York Yankees. So Nashville or Charlotte. Yeah, Nashville I think would work out pretty well. Chris Collinsworth definitely had some work done. Yeah, he might, but when you make that kind of money, you can afford it. And yeah, I remember he took over for John Madden because Madden and Michaels is a great combination. But no kid nowadays knows who the hell John Madden is anymore. Which is kind of a weird shame. It's like, hey, we're playing Madden, Madden 21. Who the hell's John Madden? I don't know. Yeah, Cardinals and Braves would obviously, because you're cutting into that market. I'm going to be stupid on this. I'm just going to have some fun with it. This is not going to make any logical sense, and I get that up front. But I would love to see like a major sports franchise go to like Montana, North Dakota, Idaho, in this middle of nowhere sort of thing. I know you got no fans. I get that. I'm okay with that. But you're in this area where, we're spoiled here. New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia. There's so many teams here. But they're up there, they haven't got squat. You could live in Bighorn, Montana, and you have to drive 7, 8, 10, 12 hours, whatever it is, to watch a Seattle game or a Denver game, depending. I'd love to see that. And then, of course, habitually they keep talking about London, although I don't see the numbers working out well on London for MLB. The ball was almost picked, but it was caught underneath. So now we're looking at a third down and about 1 there. The Orioles, where would you go? Where would the Baltimore Orioles go if they decided to leave? I mean, you could go Montreal. You could conceivably still keep them in the East-ish. Montreal would be possible. Quebec, maybe? I don't know. But I don't know. I have a Baltimore Orioles shirt upstairs. I like Baltimore. I'm a fan of the Orioles. A soft spot for the Orioles. One of my biggest problems with that was the fact that Gary Thorne, fantastic, one of the best broadcasters in the game, spent so many years broadcasting for just a terrible, terrible team and deserves so much better than he got. And I would have loved to have seen him at least broadcast a couple World Series for that team. All right. First down and 10, just under 5 minutes to play. And inside Browns territory. Nothing much on that, but it continues to burn the clock a little bit. A faster, probably arguably the fastest quarter we've had thus far at this point. That second quarter, boy, damn, did that run slow. But yeah, I'd like to see the Orioles. I'd like to see the Orioles have some level of success. But I don't see it happening anytime soon. So again, in this case, if you're Baltimore, the Ravens are pretty much all you got to hold on to. Maybe the Capitals too, but in your own city, that's it. Second down and 8. Man in motion. Screen pass and a massive loss of shit. I don't even know how many yards that was. Well, that's not what you needed. Again, a low-scoring game. Typically, these games that we do on this show are low-scoring affairs. You know, we've had a couple high-scoring ones, but more often than not, they're just low-end. I'd predicted, I think, like 20 to 13 or 20 to 13 to final for this one. Earlier on in the show, I forget exactly what. It was one of the two. So I think that's still going to hold water at this point, because now we're down to under 3.5 minutes left and a long 3rd and 9. Assuming another pass play. Lamar Jackson back to pass and just throws it away. He had to. That offensive line broke down instantly. And now you got to punt the ball. That team's had so many freaking punts tonight, though. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. My God, how am I not seeing this? On the wrong page. Is that what explain it? Yeah. Yeah, it's only the second punt by the Ravens, but Cleveland's had 4 at this point. Baltimore. So, anyway, I mentioned I was going to probably do a little bit more of this going forward. I kind of failed on it a little bit, but I wanted to kind of go back and review some of the other games that happened this week. Talked about, let's see, who did we talk about? We talked about the Giants. We talked about let's see. Yeah, tomorrow night, Seattle. Who knows what's going to happen there against Washington? The Packers, like I said, you've got to. The big key on this is Aaron Rodgers' success at home versus the road. If you're going to beat him, you got to beat him on the road. I mentioned that. 86-21-1 is the number that he's had. He is currently now only 3 home wins away from tying Dan Marino for 7th all-time in home wins. Broncos had a great display of, beating Justin Herbert. Herbert now falls to 1-2 against that team, including what he did today: 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He put up overall decent numbers for a second-year quarterback, 28 for 44, 303 yards. So that puts him at 1,034 yards in 3 games, 6 touchdowns, 4 picks, and his completion. Let's see, what is that? 78 completions in 120 passes, I think is the number, if I did the math in my head right. Channeling that weird brain system that I got. But in this case, a very organized game. Bridgewater wasn't great, 11 for 18, 129 yards with a touchdown. Melvin Gordon had 83 yards, but it was a convincing, strong win at home for a team that needed it against a division rival to stay in the playoff hunt. Otherwise, it was pretty much a very straight, even game. The big difference in this case is the Broncos went 8 for 11 on 3rd down. You have that kind of success rate of, what does that end up being, like 78%, whatever the number works out to be. You're going to win your game if you go 8 for 11 on 3rd down with that kind of percentage. Yeah, you're going to win this game most of the time. It's some college game or high school game going on right now. They're showing video. The Bucks talked about the Bucks already. The Patriots talked about that. The Falcons, yeah. They Falcon won. 49ers beating the Vikings. Yeah, we never talked about that one too much. Kirk Cousins had a decent game, 20 for 32, 238 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. But that was pretty much all that they were able to make happen. Garoppolo was solid, but Eli Mitchell ran for 133 yards, ran for a touchdown, had 5 catches as well for 35 yards. So he is the reason for that game. Fun fact between those two teams, the most lopsided game between the 49ers and the Minnesota Vikings occurred in 1984 when Joe Montana and Entourage crushed the Vikings 51-7. The starting quarterback for the Vikings in that game, in his second to last game before he retired at the end of the season, was Archie Manning. Manning Daddy was actually the starting quarterback for that game. His next game would be his last game when he lost against the Green Bay Packers and retired after the season. So, curious little fun fact. Like I said, it was the second to last game, and he went 3 for 7 in that game in passing. So, there you go. Like I said, useless trivia I mentioned earlier on the show. You don't have to know a lot, but if you know a lot of stats, it makes you look really smart. Landry going down the field, great pickup for him. Baker Mayfield connects with him for probably a good 40 yards on that. They needed that big time. This is, like I said, this is what that team needed to make things happen. They were at their own 25-yard line and already in Baltimore territory after that. Great catch and run. Landry not only caught the ball he caught the ball about just shy of the 40-yard line and then just took off with it. So, respect to that man's legs. That's what he needed to do to get things going. So now at the 44-yard line of Baltimore, 1:51 left to play in the third quarter. Mayfield in the shotgun. And defense getting through. Completed pass for about 8 or 9 yards on that. And now in field goal range, borderline, as we're closing in on the end of the third quarter. So the ESPN log has not updated. Look what happens here. Usually this thing auto updates, though. It's weird. Oh, there we go. Still about a minute behind, though. Because right now it's got a 2:28 left. I've got a minute 30-something left here. But anyway, how you kids doing out there? Everybody going out there? You guys have a good, by the way, did you guys have a good Thanksgiving? Because Thanksgiving over here was, it was definitely a holiday. Let's put it that way. I hesitate to go into some of the stuff, but food was great. Let's do it that way. And my father, as always, my father has never learned to this day about not bringing in abundance. So my father, bless the man's heart, was in charge of dessert. He brought an apple pie, 2 double crumb cakes, a giant fruit bowl, which is this giant monster fruit bowl, and 5 half-gallon tubs of containers of ice cream. So cookies and cream, vanilla, butter pecan, Neapolitan, and dark cherry. We still have some of it sitting in the fridge right now. Me personally, I have put on literally 5 pounds. I weigh myself every morning. Every morning I weigh myself, and I have literally put on 5 pounds since Thursday. Just trying to get this stuff out of the system, trying to get rid of all this stuff, and being able to get back to the normal diet that I am used to, just to get it out of here. I only had 1 bowl of ice cream today, which is actually better than I normally do. But I got to talk to my father about, bless the man's heart for being so kind, about maybe not bringing so much for Christmas this time around. Because frankly, I'm pretty sure my cholesterol can't handle it. God knows what my A1C is. And supposedly the high, an A1C can go as high as 29, 30 or something like that. Annie Live with Titus Burgess. I like Titus Burgess. I sang the theme to Titus Burgess. You remember him from 30 Rock, and he was also the gay best friend in Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. I sang the theme to Green Acres with him once on the set of the movie finale. I had my whopping 1 word of dialogue, and we literally sang the theme to Green Acres together. So always grateful for that. Never forget that. But anytime I see him in anything, I'm just instantly, I love that dude. I'd love to be able to hang out with him. Queen throwing a little bit of an elbow into a Baltimore. Oh yeah, he threw an elbow into a Browns player right there. And now he's holding his hand as he came off. So. All right, back to the action at this point. 1.5 minutes left in the third quarter. Second down at 2. Baltimore has the ball at the 37-yard line. Mayfield under center and rolling out. Already under pressure. Throws the ball deep. And is there a flag? No flag on that. That's Hooper's. Oh, there's the flag. Okay, Hooper was pissed that there was no flag there. I wasn't sure if they're going to throw a pass interference on that. But let's see what we got. Oh wait, the throwing personal foul, roughing the passer for hitting Baker too late. So it wasn't even pass interference. Well, it was the Allen Bowser in this case. Automatic first down. That still gives Cleveland a fresh set of downs and 15 yards. So 1:18 left to play. Puts them in better field goal position at this point and hurts my chances of being able to win my fantasy league despite the fact that my opponent literally hit 2 players on the IR and benched a guy who scored 40 points this week. Come on, Baltimore. I need you to save me. Give me a pick 6 here, please. I'm not showing favorites on the show in any regard here. But, all right, Baker hands off to Chubb, who gets up absolutely nothing on that, maybe 2 yards at best. Probably time for, I would imagine, maybe one more play before the end of the third quarter. At the third quarter, I may pop out for a quick second just to hit the little boys' room. Baker on the top, and the ball is that caught? Yep, they're calling it a touchdown. The ball may bounce off the turf there. All right, well, we'll see what ends up happening there, but I'm not totally sure. Let's see. Your phone is dying. You're probably taking off soon. Yeah, it's fine. I got this. So yeah, all good to me. But I appreciate you coming on, dude. Are you coming on tomorrow too, or no? All right, I'm still trying to look at this pass play here. I think he caught that. I'm pretty sure he was able to catch that ball. Besides, the ruling on the field was a touchdown, so to be able to overturn that would have to be 100% conclusive. Okay. So, in that case, I shall talk to you tomorrow. So, thank you as always. I appreciate it, sir. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's going to stand as a touchdown. Zooming in on it. On NBC, that's got to stay as a touchdown, I think. All right. So, like I said, as soon as basically this extra point is happening, I'll pop right back out, and I'll be right back after these messages. That's under an official review. Good night, everybody. Okay, 39 seconds, official review. And you know what? I will be right back. So. And we're back. So, Mark Andrews scored. Yes, that is. Yeah, I actually just mentioned that too. That you got your score out of that. I think you got your. I think you got the yardage on that too, and the touchdown stands, which I figured it probably would be standing. Yeah, it's going to hurt me on the fantasy team. But yeah, Baltimore needed that big time because Baker's. Again, I can't trust Baker in this case, but still. Baltimore is still up by 3 points. This extra point is going to be huge here to keep this a one field goal game. Kick is up, and it's straight through. Not even a question. All right, so right now we've got 39 seconds left to play. Props to Baker Mayfield for getting the first touchdown of the game for Baltimore. For Cleveland. Score is now 13-10. Again, that low-scoring affair that I had mentioned. I don't remember if I said in the beginning of the show if I said 20-14 or 20-13 would be the final of this game, Baltimore winning it. But if I said 20-13, I would look really smart right now. But okay, Baker right now is owed $18 million next year. Is he worth it? I don't know. Who knows what the future is going to hold with that man? He's got a nasty looking cut on his elbow though. That was ugly looking. Yeah. But we got, still a fourth quarter to go at this point. This game might actually literally go to midnight. It wouldn't surprise me in the least if it did. And Lamar Jackson just dropped an F-bomb on the sidelines, I think. Whoops. I'm pretty sure he didn't say it audibly, but just the same, you can tell what the words are when they're mouthed. All right, and the kickoff is underway. Kickoff is getting to be so antiquated at this point because they're putting the ball at the 35-yard line. So many times it's just, it's a touchback in general. And I know they're trying to be able to protect, the players as they're coming out and everything like that. But I don't know. I'm starting to wonder if they should start to come up with a new way of doing things, sort of things. Let's see. Back percentage 21. I mean, right now, Minnesota has a touchback 84% of the time. So I can't figure out what the league numbers are in this particular case, but so many touchbacks are happening so absolutely often that I got to wonder if they're going to try and come up with a new way, especially because the onside kick is so much of a fail. All right, Lamar Jackson deserves a hell of a lot of credit. He actually evaded three sacks there to be able to at least complete a pass, which didn't pick up much. I don't think he picked up anything, but was able to at least keep the sack into play and complete a pass at the same time. So respect there. I like Lamar Jackson. He's had a terrible game overall, but he is that team's future, and there's a lot to be excited about with that man. And that's what I talked about, his legs. His legs avoided literally 3 sacks. 1, 2, and 3. And then now we're at the end of the third quarter. The clock winds down. Okay, they picked up about a half a yard on that, so respect there. So after 3 quarters at this point, Baker Mayfield, 15 for 28, 216 yards and a touchdown. Lamar Jackson, 18 for 27, 152, 1 touchdown, 3 picks, but at the same time, also 43 yards rushing. So he's been solid that way. We've got a little ways to go at this point. We've got a fourth quarter, which, again, as I mentioned, may very well, for all I know, take another hour. This has been a slow-moving game. I think we had a game last Sunday or last Monday, I forget which one it was, where the game was literally over by like 11 o'clock at night. And it was nice in some ways. I mean, we actually were live for just under 3 hours for the entire broadcast. And now at this point, we're at 2 hours and 40 minutes. And we just finished the third quarter. So hope you guys don't have any huge plans if you want to continue to watch this game. As mentioned, I have to get up in about 6 hours. Part of the thing with the film industry in general is that they require mandatory COVID tests. On the plus side, I get paid $100 for every COVID test I do. On the downside, I have to drive all the way from New Jersey into Brooklyn and do it bright and early in the morning. So I'm getting up at 5 a.m. tomorrow. I'll be on the road by 5:30 and get a COVID test done for 7 o'clock and then immediately go home. So it'll be an early start, but pays me $100, pays towards the health insurance, which is the big reason I do any work I do in the film industry right now. But it'll be, like I said, I'm going to be running on a couple of cups of coffee just to get through tomorrow morning. We will be back again tomorrow night for the Seattle Washington game. Should have a stacked house at that point. Myself, Obie, JD, and Brandon should be back in again because the holidays are over. Everybody had their own family thing. So we had ours on Thursday, and we didn't have any family coming into town. I was out of town. So this is why I'm running solo tonight. Obie's son came back from college, so I understand that one completely. JD had some other people coming over, and Brandon had something going on. I forget what. So first time in this case, running it solo, but I think I'm doing okay. As always, drop me a line, drop me thoughts, comments, ideas, compliments, complaints, whatever you got on your mind. Let me hear about it. If you like the show, if you hate the show, if you like the show but hate me, if you like me but hate the show, whatever you got, let's roll with it. I'm happy to hear about it. As always, you can find us on Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, and also you can find us on YouTube as well. By finding Stream Punk Sports, and also on Twitter, you can find us at Stream Punk Sport singular because of sorry, that was Twitch, my bad. That's the one I meant to do. At Stream Punk Sport singular because they only allow 15 characters. It's a quirk when it comes to Twitter. But I routinely throw in facts, trivia, useless things, today in history, that sort of thing happens a lot. Tomorrow I'll be talking about Seattle and Washington, so if you want to get any fast facts ahead of time that you can drop off at work, at Reddit, at the bar, or just some randos on the internet, this is what I do the channel for. Lamar Jackson's under pressure, and he is taking off, picking about 5 yards on that. It's going to make for about a third and probably about 4 or 5 yards there. But those legs are showing what they're capable of doing. Here's what they have to do, though. This is a third down. This is a big third down. What is their success rate on third down tonight? Yeah, they're 6 for 12 on third down, which is better than Baltimore. Cleveland's 3 for 9. But this is a big one right here because you don't want to give the ball back to Cleveland and give them the opportunity to be able to have a chance to take the lead here, or at least very least tie it. It's third down and 2. They're at the 33-yard line. Handoff to the side, wide receiver, and he picks up first down and then a ton more. Okay, that's what you needed to do. Nice little trick off handoff there, and picked up about 12, 13 yards. So, respect. Baltimore keeps the clock moving. They have the chance to be able to keep things going. And there we go. Okay. Yeah, I like it. All right. Facebook's actually been solid for me tonight. That was a run play that went absolutely nowhere quickly, but sets up a second down and long. Yeah, they've struggled with a lot of the second down stuff here tonight. And NBC is doing some kind of a low end, I'm going to call it PlayStation 1 level, CGI that they got going. PlayStation 2, I'll be fair. Kind of CGI that they've got happening right now. So, gotta wonder. I like the CGI work, but I would figure you'd be able to do better than this if you got professional people doing this. Speaking as a person who royally hates editing and has above average talent versus the rest of society, but a terrible talent when it comes to the industry itself. Lamar Jackson throwing deep over the top. Andrews, and the ball is picked again. Holy shit. That is a 4th interception now that Lamar Jackson has thrown tonight. Holy Hannah. That is, wow. This is not, I have to go back. Hang on a minute. Let me look something up here. I am curious when the last time was he threw 4 picks in a game. Okay. All right. He threw 2 last year. In the meantime, while that's loading up, I'm going to do this. Put that over there. This a different way. This year he's never thrown more than 2 interceptions, and suddenly he's thrown 4 tonight. can't imagine he's ever thrown 4 in a game. I can't see it. Yeah, coming into this game, coming into the season in this game, he has only thrown 8 interceptions the entire game. And let me say this again. Sorry, it's getting late. I apologize. I'm running solo, like I said. Coming into this game, he has only thrown 8 interceptions the entire season. Today, he's thrown 4. Last season, he never threw more than 2. He threw 9 in the entire season, so he's already eclipsed last year's mark. 2019. Yeah, 2019, he only threw 6 picks in 2019. And then 2018, his rookie season, he threw 3. All right, so not only has he never thrown 3 interceptions in a game, he has never thrown 4 either, and he's at 4 today. That's rough. That's rough, buddy. But it gives Cleveland new life. They got the touchdown before. They got a chance to be able to pull this game out. This is a game that if Baltimore loses this game, they're going to look at this for the rest of the season and be like, what happened? This is one of those game-defining games where you look at it and you're like, we lost the season because we lost this game. Because it sends a spiral down where you lose first place overall, and it sets an overall tone. Baker back to pass, by the way, throws it underneath and picked up about almost 15 yards on that. So Baker, I think, may be finding his groove at this point. How Baker got his groove back. So right now, 13-10, 12.5 minutes left to play. And at this point, Baker Mayfield, 16 for 29, 232 with a touchdown. So, yeah, he is starting to get out of that bad streak. But again, he is also responsible. There is 2 fumbles in the game, one that he is directly responsible for. So if you're a Baltimore fan, if you're a Cleveland fan, you need to basically make sure that he holds on to that ball, doesn't make a mistake, and they don't turn this ball over. He throws deep again, and oh wow, that should have been intercepted. I just almost finished this. I barely got the words out of my mouth. Clark of Baltimore literally had the ball in his hand. That ball was thrown into quadruple coverage and should have been an interception. 100% should have been an interception. I think he was shocked that the ball came to him. But yeah, Clark had the ball for the Ravens and just dropped it. Oh, that should have been a pick. And they're zooming in on Baker, who's just like, holy shit. All right, shake it off, kid. Shake it off. So, all right, hand off to, I think that's Kareem. Is that Hunt? Who's picking it? Wow. Who pushed hard, got 9 yards out of that. So it sets up a very, very short 3-1. 3rd and 1. Diet Coke, the official sponsor of Stream Punk Sports, is what I'd like to say for real. But in this case, it's just a can I had left over there. You just finish because I got 11.5 minutes left to play. I'm tired of scrap, and we're going to finish this game, by God. But yeah, that run game for Cleveland has been terrible today. They just have not been able to get the ball wrong. And when you have a 3rd and 1, you're pretty much looking at a run play. Baker looks like he got it on the quarterback sneak. Looks like he picked up about 2 or 3 there. Oh, he got more than that. So he keeps the ball roll. He keeps the clock moving. He keeps the offense on the field, and he gives that defense a chance to be able to recharge. That's a tired defense at this point. They need the rest. They need to be able to protect themselves. And that's why I said earlier, if you guys recall, that one drive was going to basically be such a huge aspect. Because when the game was 13-3, if the Ravens were able to get a touchdown there and make it 20-3, it put so much more pressure on Baker and the offense to take the ball into the air and to be able to make passes that maybe necessarily you wouldn't be able to have to do. Hunt actually tries to run the ball, loses a couple yards there. But as a result, because they could not capitalize on that whenever I happen to say it, when it was 13-3, now Cleveland has the chance to be able to take a lead in this game and start to put a lot more pressure on Jackson, who not only has thrown his first time in his career thrown 3 interceptions in a game, his first time in his career throwing 4. So time of possession right now is 29, almost 30 minutes for Baltimore, and just over 20 minutes right now for Cleveland. So that Cleveland defense needs to recharge its batteries big time. So that QB sneak was big, but it's now second down and 13. Baker in the shotgun takes the ball back under pressure, and down he goes. Baker is sacked, and that's going to set up a third and very long. Takes a little bit of the sting of that guaranteed interception away. So, yeah, we're looking at third down at probably about 18, 19, I would think. All right. Let's see what ends up happening. Presumably, if third down at 20, Baker's back, they can go into a prevent on this to throw underneath. That ball was almost picked, but it's still going to be stopped short. Cleveland probably picked up 12 or 13 on that, but it's moot. When you got third down and 20 in your defense, you go prevent defense on that. Give them a few yards. Make sure that they just don't get that first down. And Baltimore did its job. That's exactly what you want to be able to do in this particular case, although that ball was nearly picked off by Baltimore as well. Yeah, they picked up 8 yards on it, fourth down and 12, 8.5 minutes left to play at this point. Cleveland is now punting the ball away. And good kick, great kick. Immediately Stevenson was smashed as soon as he caught that ball. If he was able to actually if Green didn't stop him right there, that ball, he could have run for that for about 10 or 15 yards. But he was taken out at the legs immediately. But it puts the pressure on Lamar Jackson. It's 13-10 right now. You've got just under 9 minutes left to play in this game. And you need to be able to make something happen. You need to keep that clock going. You need to get points. You need to get a touchdown. And you need to make this a 2-score game. And actually, they're showing a commercial for the South Park post-COVID special on Paramount Plus. I watched that the other day, too. That was freaking amazing. I felt like South Park has lost its edge a little bit in the last couple of years, but I felt that movie was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I don't want to give spoilers on it, but I enjoyed it so much more. And yeah, you probably already know. And if you've seen a commercial, you say it does do a time jump into the future, which may be why it's doing Paramount Plus and not just Comedy Central. I loved it. I really was enthralled. I liked the storyline. I liked the crispness of it. And it's supposedly the first of like 14 South Park, like mini movies, we'll call it that, that's going to Paramount Plus. The next one is supposedly sometime in December. I don't remember exactly when that's going to be, but post-COVID December. Do we have a release date for that? And what do we got? Yeah, there's 14 original movies. And part 2 explore date. It just says ready to stream in December 2021. So December is going to have a ton of cool shit coming down the pipeline. December is going to have new South Park mini movie, we'll call it that. It's got new Matrix movie. Cobra Kai is coming out there. A bunch of cool stuff. As always, like I said, drop us a message on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, any one of them this thing is streaming on. Drop us a message, drop us thoughts, comments, ideas, compliments, or complaints. We want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. Tomorrow night, we will have a full house again. All 4 of us are going to be rolling with it. For me tonight, it's been 3 hours all by myself. But it hasn't been bad. My voice is holding out a little bit better than I thought it would. I've actually, for myself, I haven't done that bad at this. This is the first time since we started this channel that any of us have had to really do this solo. So I'm happy with my performance so far. If you hate it, let me know. But anyway, Baltimore takes the ball. Lamar Jackson takes it, throws it. I think that's a completed pass. Rolled out, picked up back. Yeah. Oh no, it's an incomplete pass. that would have been a great pick of 20-some yards. But instead, it basically makes it for a 2nd down and 10 right now. Again, like I mentioned, Baltimore has to be able to keep this clock moving. They have to be able to find a way to not punt the ball back and give Baker Mayfield, who is starting to come into his own in this game a little bit. You don't want to give him a chance to be able to take this game downfield, and surprise Baltimore with a win. 8:23 left to play, 2nd down and 10. Running the ball, I'm not crazy about that decision. It only picked up 2-3 yards and forces a 3rd and very long. Baltimore at this point, I think, is probably still about 50-50 when it comes to 3rd down. They're 7 for 13 on 3rd down efficiency, which is very strong. But additionally, this is a pretty much guaranteed pass play at 3rd down and 7. Hello, Peru. How are we doing down there? So, is it warm down there by you? You doing okay? Because we're getting snow up here tonight. Like I mentioned, I got to drive to Brooklyn tomorrow, and supposedly it's supposed to snow overnight. So, yay. The older I get, the less I like snow. And that ball is immediately tipped at the line of scrimmage, and Lamar Jackson's coming out, and they do have to punt. Like I literally just said, you don't want to have to do that right here. You're giving the ball back to Cleveland with a chance to tie or take the lead with plenty of time left to play. I mean, you can so milk this clock as much as you want. I didn't like that 2nd down decision. You tried to actually do an off tackle, 2nd down and 10. You picked up 3 yards, but you set up a 3rd and very long. And everybody at that point knew a pass play was coming and the ball was tipped. So we have another Baltimore punt now at 7.5 minutes left to play. 33-yard line, taking it back, and loses yardage on it. So the return actually lost 5 yards. But 7:25 left to play. They're taking a commercial break, and Baker Mayfield takes the field yet again. This is a close matchup right now. A little bit closer than I would have liked it to be, expected it to be. But the big difference on this, the entire difference right here, is Lamar Jackson's 4 turnovers. He's had 4 interceptions today. He has never had 3 in his career until tonight, and he's already thrown 4. If that's cut in half, sorry. Again, like I mentioned, New Jersey, it's called up here. I apologize. If that number is cut in half, then Baltimore wins this game. But you can't throw 4 interceptions and make it easy for yourself. I don't know what the win percentage is if you throw 4 picks, but it's got to be like 5-10%. It's got to be very, very, very low. When throwing 4 INTs, what's the number on that? All right. Not what I was looking at. So, which QB has won the most games with 3 interceptions? It's Bobby Lane, who had 3rd here for 3. He won 16 games. He threw 3 interceptions 31 times, but won 16 games. He was the one who had half his games there. Phil Simms, Drew Bledsoe. Yeah, a lot of big names on here too. George Blanda. That's the funny thing about George Blanda. George Blanda, when he retired, was 48 years old. Tom Brady right now is under contract to be 48. I think Tom Brady's goal right now is to basically take George Blanda for the oldest NFL player of all time. The difference was George Blanda was a kicker by that point. So, vamos Baltimore. So, like I said, I got a soft spot for Baltimore. I can't help it. I don't know if necessarily Baker Mayfield is the future there. I'm not convinced of that. But I like Baltimore. I mentioned this earlier in the show. I like Baltimore as a city. I got a soft spot for the Orioles. I still do. But Baker Mayfield's future in Cleveland. Lamar Jackson, though, is the guy who's this game surprised me because in this particular case, he has never thrown 3 interceptions in a game. Like I said, he threw 4. But looking back on his numbers, he has thrown coming into this game, he threw 8 interceptions. He is now at 12. He has never thrown 8 in his career prior to, in any season leading up to this. He threw, I think his highest was 6. So he's now doubled his arguably highest number ever coming into the season. But Baltimore, yeah, like I said, it's a feel-good city to me. The Orioles I have a soft spot for. We were talking about this earlier in the show with another guy about whether the Orioles are going to stay in Baltimore, being a terrible team that they are. And if Baltimore leaves and if the Orioles leave, where would they go? The Orioles, I don't want to see them leave. But if they did, Nashville would be possible, Carolina possible, Montreal would be possible as well. But here we are, second down at 5. Baker's back. And a lot of time, throws it deep and out of bounds there. Setting up a 3rd and 5 with 6:38 left to play in the fourth quarter here. Okay. Griping about a push call. Landry's pissed at one of the referees at the moment. Yeah, he's definitely pissed off. But 3rd down and 5, this is where Baker has to be able to step up. They have not been great today on 3rd down. I think they were 3 for 9. If I was looking, okay, 4 for 11 is the new 3rd down number. 1 for, according to what they've got on here, 1 for 6 with 7 yards or plus to go. 1 for 3 with 4 to 6 yards left to go. So they're facing a 3rd and 5. They're 1 and 3 tonight on that. The run game has been absolutely anemic. Baker Mayfield throws it out of bounds to literally no one right there, and setting up another punt. So props to Baltimore for being able to do that. Stop Baker from making anything happen here. I mentioned it a couple of times already, but Baltimore getting the benefit of a fumble by virtue of the fact that Baker Mayfield, literally had the ball come out of his hand while he was trying to actually throw a pass. He just literally dropped the ball for a fumble. Baltimore is on my fantasy league, so I'm willing to take them in this particular case because I'll take whatever points I can possibly get because the Lord knows I need some right now. But, all right, Cleveland's back to punt. Again, like I mentioned it in the last drive, Baltimore has to burn the clock here. They cannot go 3 and out. You cannot keep giving Cleveland chances to come back to be able to win. You can't do that. So Lamar Jackson's got to get it got to get it organized here. Burn this clock, make things happen. Their running game themselves has not been great tonight outside of Jackson as well. Jackson's at 51 yards rushing. Yeah. Devonta Freeman's at 28. Murray's at 14, 13-1. So of 107 yards rushing by Baltimore, almost half of that is Lamar Jackson, which is good. That's what his legs are for. That's what he's designed for. But you want to be able to spread that around because he has taken way too many hits tonight. That's going to hurt him long term. You need to be able to get that running game going in other ways. And Jackson's taking the ball right now, but picks up about 12 or 13 yards. So keeps the clock moving. It's going to basically bring the clock down to under 6 minutes to play. Picked up a very quick first down, and they're rolling. So, all right. Like I said, as always, drop us a comment, drop us an idea, thoughts, comments, ideas, compliments, or complaints. We are available on Facebook, Twitch, Instagram, and YouTube as well. Did I miss anything? At Streampunk Sports, and then on Twitter at Streampunk Sport, singular, because it only allows 15 characters. Tomorrow night, we will be back again. We will be covering Seattle and Washington. It'll be a full house at that point. Me, Obie, JD, and Brandon will be doing play-by-play and reaction commentary at that point. It'll be right here on whatever you happen to be watching it on. So right now, at the moment, most of you guys are on Streampunk Sports on Facebook. So tune in tomorrow night if you got any thoughts or questions. If you're a 12th man fan, if you're a Washington fan, or just want to just chill out with us, ask us questions, talk to us. We're here for you. We work for you. So right now, the clock is still rolling. Devonta Freeman just picked up 36 yards now at this point in 12 rushes for the game. He's now at 2nd and 2, and just over 5 minutes left to play, and another Baltimore first down. So that's big because, again, that's killing this clock. Cleveland has 2 timeouts remaining, so they're going to definitely need that. But Baltimore needs to, at the very least, get a field goal, touchdown, much more preferred. I think if it's a 4th down situation and you have to make a decision, field goal or go for it on 4th down, I think you take the field goal. You force Baker Mayfield to have to get that touchdown. But rushing game right now, Baltimore 36 rushes for 125 yards, 29 yards. Cleveland, 17 rushes for 40 yards. That's, like I said, the big difference maker. Again, most of those yards are Lamar, who's taking the ball right now, picking it up, and picked up about 1 yard, maybe 2, but now brings it to under 4 minutes to play in the game. So it is setting up a second down and long, but burn that clock, do whatever you can. You're still too far away from field goal range at the moment. You're still in your own territory, but Jackson now is at 63 yards rushing. So he is responsible for just shy of half of the entire rushing offense. But I like the guy. I always have. I've been a fan of his. Very surprised with the 4 interceptions. Fine, we've talked about that ad nauseum. But Jackson throws underneath, and they get a first down and a little bit more. So that will bring the clock down to about 3 minutes and change. They're going to have to snap the ball at probably 3:10, between 3 minutes and 3:10 left. But this is exactly what they needed to do. And, Brown basically gets the ball underneath. It would have been a third down and probably about 1 or 2, but he was able to just kind of lunge forward to pick up another 3 or 4 yards. And offensive coordinator, they got to highlight the offensive coordinator here. I like that pass play. But we're at 3:18, 17, 16 left. They are now at the 43-yard line of Cleveland. And Jackson back, hands it off, and they're picking up. Yeah, see, this is – okay, they only picked up a couple 3 yards on that. But this is what I had talked about earlier in the game, where you have to look at the fourth quarter and the time of possession. If you look down at the bottom down here, that time of possession is huge because that Cleveland defense is getting tired. And you're starting to see it now with how certain plays are being done, where they're just running out of gas and they're not able to make the key stops that they used to be able to make. And as a result, Cleveland will have to probably start having to bring up someone up front to be able to force more pressure, but leave somebody in the secondary to open up a pass play. Baltimore is doing what they exactly have to do right now. This is, again, a slow-scoring game, as most of the games that we end up doing are. But Cleveland took a timeout. I think it was a good call in this case to take that timeout, recharge the batteries a little bit. 3:05 left, but only 1 timeout remaining. Jackson's in the shotgun right now. He takes the ball himself with the option of a pitch and picks up another first down. So he picks up 6, he picks up 7, whatever that number ended up being. But now you're closing in on the 2-minute warning. Cleveland's going to probably have to – Cleveland's not going to take a timeout here. They're going to wait until after the 2-minute warning. But actually, no, maybe they did take a timeout. It didn't actually show on screen, so I can't say for sure. But it's 2:55 left. If they did take a timeout, which I'm guessing in this case they did, they'd be out of timeouts. They got the 2-minute warning left. If Baltimore is able to get 1 more first down, maybe 2, that's going to solidify this game and it's going to end it. But Lamar Jackson has done the running thing that he is good at doing. And he's, despite 4 interceptions, he's finding a way to get this team the victory that they need to get. Because, again, this is a team right now that had they lost this game, the New England Patriots would be first place overall in the AFC. This game would keep them in the top of the standings right now and keep them with the best record, and at the season end of today, give them the bye. But if you notice that they're running the ball so much more right now, and they just picked up about 9 yards there. That will a flag on the play, maybe holding. But you want to keep that ball rolling. You don't want to have to pass unless you have to. Holding on the offense. If you're Cleveland, you take that penalty immediately. You push them back. You set them up for a first down and 20. Yeah, first down and 20. And force a pass to have to be done. I think Baltimore can run the ball at least 1 time, maybe 2. They're showing the highlight there. Yeah, I guess it's a hold. All right. Irrespective, it's a hold. That's what they're calling it. All right. So first down and 20, 2 minutes and 50 seconds left at this point. Baltimore is up 13-10. They were going to have to pass the ball pretty soon at some point. I think you can do 1 more run play. Lamar Jackson is in the shotgun right now. They got three receivers on the right side, nobody on the left. It is a run play, and they picked up 6 or so yards. They can do 1 more play clearly before they have to go to the 2-minute warning. As always, you got any questions, thoughts, ideas, compliments, or complaints, Let us know about them. I want to hear from you guys. Um, they're showing a highlight of Baker Mayfield on camera right now. He's looking very despondent because of the fact that they've had 2 turnovers, and rumor has strongly had it that team has lost their respect for Baker Mayfield. It's hard to say for sure if it's actually accurate or not because um, press is not allowed in the locker rooms anymore. But they're getting tired of they're questioned about whether or not Baker Mayfield is the future in Cleveland. This is a second run play, brings it down to the 2-minute warning, sets up a third down and relatively long, probably 7 or 8 yards on that. Cleveland player is down, but it's going to be a 2-minute warning anyway. When a player is down this late in the game, if they're down, it's a charge timeout, or in this case, a 10-second runoff. Because there was an era in football where players would be like, "Oh, I'm injured. The clock has to stop." But it's a 2-minute warning. It's irrespective. It won't matter here. But this is going to be a very, very, very big third down for Cleveland because Cleveland has to stop them here. If they don't, this game ends because you can just start kneeing the ball. They have no more timeouts. Cleveland has to stop them here, prevent a touchdown, keep it to a field goal, give Baker Mayfield at least a shot. Snowball's chance in hell, I admit, but at least a shot of being able to make something happen here. We go back to this guy right here, box score. Baker 17 for 33, 240, 1 touchdown, no interception, but a brutally bad fumble. A fumble that became an internet meme, I think, very quickly. All right, so we are looking at 2 minutes left. It's a third down and 11. Yeah, if you're Baltimore, you pass this ball, I think. You try one pass, I think, here. Cleveland can't stop the ball. So if you run the ball, assuming you don't get it, you can bring the clock down to probably about a minute 17, maybe about a minute 17, maybe minute 18, or minute 13. But the question is, what are they going to do here? Either play has a potentiality of success or failure. The one thing you don't want to do in this particular case, though, is you absolutely 100% do not want to take a sack or turn the ball over. If Lamar Jackson, if they do decide to pass this ball, he's going to roll out of the pocket and be able to throw it away if he has to. You want to stay in field goal position right now. You don't want to blow it, and you don't want to turn the ball over. So, yeah, he's going to hold it. He's going to throw it underneath. The ball is caught, but it's only caught for about 3 or 4 yards. It's going to set up a fourth down at probably about 8. You're looking at a just shy of 50-yard field goal here, but Cleveland will be able to get the ball back with about a minute left to play in this game. Justin Tucker, who's going to be kicking this is going to be the biggest kick that he's probably had in a while, because if he ends up missing this, Baltimore suddenly has phenomenal field position, only needs a field goal to tie instead of basically a touchdown to win, and it puts so much pressure on him. But Justin Tucker's been in this league for probably about 10 or 11 years, I think, at this point. He's one of the most respected kickers in the league. But that's what he needs to do. Let's see. Let me look at his numbers. Justin Tucker. Yeah, he's been in the league 10 years at this point. Field goal career percentage is 90.7. When he kicks from, I'm just going to adjust myself. blazes just happened? What camera drop? If you guys can hear me, let me know. Because honestly, I have no idea at the moment. So we're back. I'm not sure exactly what happened there. It's kind of weird. The internet being what the internet is. So I apologize deeply for that. Okay. So anyway, we are back. Put this back up here again. Huge apologies there. I don't know what the devil happened. So I swear this never happens to me. Let's put that way. I guess I did it like that. I don't actually remember how I did this. I guess it was like that. Okay. So anyway, continuing on at this point, we have 1 minute. 1 minute left to play at this point. Baltimore is up 16-10. It's 3rd down and 10. Baker Mayfield's going to have to throw the ball. He's at his own 25-yard line. They need a touchdown. They have no timeouts left, and he's back over center, and that ball is dropped. So now it's there. Now Cleveland is facing a 4th down and 10. So go Baltimore. Yeah, listen, Baltimore right now. They needed this win. They were on the verge of getting it. Lamar Jackson had an uncharacteristically bad throwing game that throwing for 4 interceptions. Shockingly bad. Eat game day. Now, is that eat game day or eat game day? So, and a happy yo to you too. 4th down and 10. Throwing over the center. Completed and short. And that is going to do it. You do not do that. If you have a 4th down and 10, you do not throw the ball underneath unless you are damn sure you're going to be able to actually get a 1st down out of that. Full well. I mean, I get it. Baltimore was prepped for that. They were playing a prevent D on that, so they were only going to give up 6 or 7 yards. You played it, do that what they wanted to do, exactly what they wanted to do right there. There was no way in hell that he was going to be able to get there. But I don't know what the devil they were thinking. You throw a Hail Mary, you figure something out there. You don't throw the ball underneath on a 4th and 10. Like I said, that is one of the that's going to be micromanaged for a while, I think. That was such a terrible decision. Again, yeah, correct. Huge win for the Ravens on this case. They just need the ball down. They got to stop the clock one more time. They're going to need the ball down one more time. But good win for Baltimore. A little messy at times. It could have been a blowout. This is a game that could very well have easily been a blowout. NFL teams since 2015, teams throwing four or more interceptions are 0-52 in the regular season and postseason. This is the first time in 6 years that a team has thrown for 4 picks and won. So, but credit to Lamar Jackson, credit to his legs, credit big time to that Baltimore defense, because without that defense, there's no way in blazes that this team would have had a shot. So, respect to that. Baker Mayfield, who knows what your future is going to be in Cleveland? I don't know. He's going to be owed $18 million next year. Is he worth $18 million? I'm personally going to probably lean towards no. I think maybe in some ways he maybe knew that as well, which is why he does all the progressive commercials, because he's setting up a future for himself outside of that. Good. Lamar will turn this around. 4 picks in a game. He's never thrown more than 3 interceptions in a game. He threw 4 tonight, fine. I'm a little concerned because this brings him to 12 for the season. And I think he's never thrown more than 6, maybe 8 in his career across the board. So now at this point in the season, 12 games in, he's thrown, or 11 games in, he's thrown 12 interceptions. That's a little bit of a concern on my side, but I do believe he'll turn it around. I have confidence in him. I trust him. In Lamar, we trust. And if, being a Giants fan, I would love to have that guy on my team, because what you saw tonight is an anomaly. Don't sweat it too much. It's just every player has a bad game. Every player has that quirk that keeps them from having success in that individual moment. He will turn it around. He will look at everything that went south, and he'll make it work out okay. But again, huge win for them. Much needed win against a division rival. Sends Cleveland down to a 6-6 record. Yeah, a Broncos fan. Well, listen, Broncos are not that bad. They had a good win today too. You beat Justin Herbert at home. Herbert had good numbers against you guys. He still had semi-decent numbers in general, but worry about him in the future, but appreciate what you got today. So I'm going to start probably wrapping this up pretty soon, because I have to get up in about 5 hours, because I have to drive all the way out to Brooklyn, New York for a COVID test, because when you work in the film industry, COVID tests are a routine thing. Granted, you get paid for your COVID test, which is nice, but I'm getting up at 5 a.m. I'm driving into New York City and getting a test done and then coming home, probably going to sleep. So such a weird team. Can't tell if you guys are good or bad. That sums up a lot of teams in general in the NFL. There's no massive standouts. Again, we will be back again tomorrow night, though. So we're going to be talking Seattle and Washington. We're going to have the full gamut. Myself, Obie, Brandon, and JD will be on. So find us wherever you're looking for us, whether it's Twitch, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter as well. Find us, talk to us, comment. Want to hear from you guys. If you guys have questions, thoughts, ideas. If you like us, you hate us, we don't care. We want to hear from you. Anyway, thanks as always for tuning in. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. And for a guy who literally just talked for 3.5 hours straight on his own, I don't think I did that badly tonight. So anyway, have a great night, guys. Take care. Be awesome and drop us a message. Take care.